Chapter 38:12. With the deepening of the crowd, there are dead bones on the ground, which have been weathered and turned into fly ash at a touch. The more you go forward, the more dead bones on the ground, the heavier the spirit of death. The breath of death can invade the spirit of human beings. Those who are not determined will become more and more afraid and even have illusions. Fortunately, Long Chen and others are together. Even if Guoran is not determined, he does not feel afraid. Whether his confidence is strong depends on who he is with. All of a sudden they were surprised. Mo Nian took them all the way and made some special marks on the way. Half an hour later, they returned to the place where the first mark was. What's the situation? We are clearly moving forward in a straight line. Guoran was shocked. Long Chen and others are dignified. With their spiritual awareness, they can never make mistakes. But unconsciously, they go back to the starting point, and no one is aware of the abnormality. This is a bit strange. This should be the way of heaven. It's because God doesn't want us to pass by and create a barrier to keep us out. Long Chen side of the month. Small Chen mouth way. What is that? This thing involves my blind spot of knowledge. This time even Mo Nian was surprised. The barriers set up to protect a certain world, we can also understand it as a kind of clever magic array, blocking people out. But different from the magic array, it has a real barrier, but the barrier can't be seen or touched. If you enter the barrier, the space will become disordered. No matter how strong your sense of direction is, it's useless. You have to walk around and finally come back. Yu Shaoqian said. Long Chen looks at Yu Shaoqian with a smile in her eyes. Yu Shaoqian is blushed by Long Chen, and she can't help asking, how? Am I not right? Yu Shaoqian thought that Long Chen knew more, but Long Chen shook his head. Yu Xiaoqian's erudition reminded him of the scene when he first met her. Yu Shaoqian is simply an omniscient existence, which makes Long Chen admire him. Now in the fairyland, Long Chen is in Lingshao Academy. He has read a lot. Although he can't say that he is erudite, he has profound knowledge. However, compared with Yu Shaoqian, he is still a lot worse. There is a problem. Xiaoqian took out a dozen array discs and studied them quietly for a while. His face was serious and said, "The barrier of heaven and earth is indeed unfathomable. I can only detect that there are changes in the force field of heaven and earth about 300 li ahead, which should be the place where the Tiandao barrier is. Go and have a look." The crowd moved forward cautiously, but when they got to the place mentioned by Xiaoqian, they could not see anything different. Continue to move forward, clearly walking is a straight line, but not long after, back to the original starting point. Guoran also left an eye. When walking, he deliberately drew a straight line on the ground with a stick, but the line was straight, but still returned to the original place. This is too evil. Guoran can't help but say. The evil gate is right. Otherwise, the place of heaven burial would have been watched by people. Go, I can almost find its way. Emoniandao. People go forward or along the line just now. When they get to the position that Xiaoqian said, Guoran left traces still straight forward, but Mo Nian stopped. Hiss, Mo Nian took out a stone and threw it forward. The stone was straight forward, but it flew out in a strange arc. What makes people feel numb is that the stone parallels the straight line on the ground, and the stone turns, while the line on the ground does not turn, but the two are parallel, which is totally contrary to common sense. Long Chen holding a spear, slowly forward to explore the way, when a few steps later, all of a sudden people exclaimed, Long Chen's spear, suddenly bent. The spear bent a little. If you didn't concentrate on it, you wouldn't notice it, but it did. Here is the mysterious barrier of the heavenly way. Just like a stick that pokes into the water, the stick is straight, but it looks like it's misplaced. What we're walking seems to be a straight line, but actually it's a detour. Dragon Dust Road. Wow, boss. You're smart. Guoran could not help admiring the tunnel. What's the use of flattery? The point is that it's useless even if you know it. Longshan has no good breath. Shall we go in the opposite direction of the curve? Guoran is very clever once, and his suggestion seems to be very reasonable. Yu Shaoqian shook her head and said, It's useless. The heaven's magic barrier is like flowing water. You don't see the tip of the gun. Did you start to tilt to another part? That doesn't matter. As long as we move in the opposite direction, for example, now that the barrel is left, we turn right, and when we get to the point of the gun, it is upward, and we will. Speaking of this, Guoran couldn't go on, couldn't he drill? He didn't think it was feasible. Emon, what can I do? Long Chen looks at Emon. At this time, Emon looked serious and seemed to be calculating something. After a long time, he shook his head and said, I overestimated myself. As Xiaoqian said, the puzzle of heaven is just like flowing water. Space nodes can't be calculated and can only be broken through violently. However, there is no force on the heaven's way, and the power is constantly flowing. We attack with all our strength. We attack in different places, and we can't attack a little together. In this way, we can't break through the mystery of heaven. Emon is proficient in tomb robbing and array. Although he is not as specialized in array as Xiaoqian, he also has the unique secret skill of Wuliangong, specializing in breaking the protection of various tombs. However, he had only heard of celestial burial before and had never met it before. This time, he finally met him, but he was taught a lesson severely. He was baffled by a mysterious barrier of heaven. Can you push the barrier out? Long Chen's eyes suddenly brightened. What? Seeing the expression of dragon dust, Emon became excited. As long as you can push out the barrier, I think I can penetrate the mysterious barrier of heaven. Long Chen said with a smile. Really? Emon can't help but be overjoyed. Although he knows that Long Chen is not a joker, he can't help asking. Give it a try. I'm not sure. There's nothing to lose by trying. Dragon Dust Road. Emon nodded and looked at Xiaoqian. Each of them held an array plate in their hands. They started the array plate at the same time and smashed it in front of him. Boom! With a bang, their array discs are so inlaid in the void. Runes are flying on the array discs, and a barrier appears in front of the array discs. It's a transparent barrier, in which you can see countless energy flowing, which is the mysterious barrier of heaven. All of a sudden, Long Chen held a black dagger, broke his drink, and stabbed the barrier with all his strength. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3813 Boom! The black dagger of dragon dust stabbed on the barrier. With a bang, the barrier was pierced and a big hole with a thickness of 100 li appeared. Emon and others were overjoyed, and they were about to rush over, but were stopped by the dragon dust. At this time, the big hole quickly healed, and it was just a blink of an eye. They'll go. It's too short to make it. Emon's face changed. If you rush to half and be engulfed by heaven's magic barrier, it's over. Maybe something terrible will happen. In this way, it'll go first. I have the secret of starting evil and have enough time to go to the opposite side. Summer morning, you give me an array disk, you are ready for passive transmission. When I get to the opposite side, I can directly start the array disk, and then you can be transmitted. Yu Xiaoqian said. Will it work? Dragon does some uneasy, in case of something no one can afford. Believe me, Xiaoqian looks at the dragon dust, a sweet smile. The face is full of confidence color. Boom! Long Chen took a deep breath, waved the dagger again, and stabbed the Tiandao magic barrier with a sharp blow. The power of the movement of the dragon dust was greater than that of the previous time. He thought that he could make the passage bigger and strive for more time for Yu Xiaoqian. But as like as 2 peas, the attack is just the same as the last attack. The channel is still so large, the time is still so short. Xiaoqian Long Chen's face changed and wanted to let Xiaoqian give up, but Yu Xiaoqian had already moved, and her body rushed into the channel with endless phantom. When the channel is closed, Long Chen's heart beats wildly, for fear that Yu Xiaoqian doesn't rush through, because everything is too fast to see clearly. Sister Xiaoqian is okay. The array disk has been locked. Get ready. It'll turn on the passive transmission. Summer Morning exclaimed with surprise. Here Small Qian rushed past. People can't help but breathe a sigh of relief, before everyone really put the heart to the throat. The reason is that you have no strength to break through the dust. It's not because your strength is too big or small. It's not because you can't use your strength to break through the dust. Emonyandao. Dragon Dust nodded and let everyone be ready. Everyone was ready. The transmission symbol was lit on his body. He could transmit at any time. Dragon Dust stabbed the past with a dagger. Bang, as Emonyen said, the dragon dust did not exert any force, and the mysterious barrier of heaven shook for a while, and a channel was broken down. It is obvious that the power of breaking through the channel has nothing to do with the dragon dust. The passage has just appeared. Long Chen has a flower in front of him and enters a quiet world. Yu Shaoqian is waiting for them here. Through the mysterious barrier of heaven, Long Chen found that, like the outside environment, there were skeletons everywhere, but without the wind and sand all over the sky, the whole world was quiet and frightening. This is a world of death, without any sound. If you look at it, you can see endless bones and bones, which makes your scalp numb. Between heaven and earth, you can only hear your own breath and heartbeat. For a time, no one spoke. It was too quiet here. I was afraid that an endless echo would be produced. Click, Guoran moved his steps and stepped on a bone, which was cracked and made a crisp sound. If it is usually nothing but at this time a crisp sound, but as if the general thunder scared everyone. I'm sorry Guoran apologized in a hurry. You don't have to be nervous. I come here often and it's very safe. Emon Yang, with a smile, comforted everyone. Long Chen squatted down and picked up the broken bone by Guoran and looked at the lines on the bone. This is the bone of a strong man of human race. It should be the bone of the big arm. After such a long time, the lines on it can still be preserved. I'm afraid that this is a supreme bone, and the breath has not been completely wiped out. He should have been a man with strong divine dignity. The one with the highest level of divine respect should have unlimited scenery before his life, but after his death his bones are not complete, so he has no way to return to practice. Long Chen can't help but sigh in his heart that the supreme level strong are all people born in accordance with the spirit of the times. Although the supreme level of Tianjiao is rampant now, it is the result of the operation of heaven. However, if you can't catch up with the spring rain, many shoots can't break through the ground. There are few supreme level people that Long Chen met. At present, only Xia Guhong, Dongfang Zichu, Weng Taibei and so on. Long Chen suspects that they are the supreme level strongmen. In addition to them, only the city master of Inua City that he met before may be the supreme level. Whether Xia Guhong, Dongfang Zichu, Weng Taibei, or the Lord of Inua City, which one is not a giant? Which is not the power to look down upon all living beings. However, what is the end of the road to death? Boss, this is the winged devil. Guoran suddenly saw a huge skeleton in the distance. He could not help but exclaim that the skeleton was completely preserved and the residual breath was amazing. The strong one of the winged demons is 10 feet tall, with a pair of bone wings behind. On the bone wings, there are complete runes, which have not been eroded by the years. This is a pair of supreme bone wings, and the powerful one of the winged demons is also a supreme powerful one. This is a well-preserved corpse. Its wings are open, and it kneels on the ground. On top of its head, there is a long sword. The sword goes straight through its head. Obviously, it died under this blow. Hiss! The sword was pulled out from the head of the winged demon by dragon dust, and the sword was covered with rust. When the dragon dust shakes the sword, the rust on the sword falls off one after another, revealing the bright sword body inside. The sword vibrates, the air roars and the killing intention surges. Good sword, Long Chen can't help but praise that this is a realm artifact. Although its material is not as good as that of Minghong Dao, what's rare is that it has a killing intention. Obviously, it produces self-consciousness and inherits the will of its master. It is a real killing artifact. It is reasonable to say that if the magic soldiers are not nourished by the power of the master spirit, they are easy to be depressed and eventually perish. However, this long sword has been preserved by absorbing a trace of bones to prevent years from eroding it. It is like a soldier who has endured humiliation and suffered hardships. Therefore, Long Chen called it a good sword. The long sword was buzzing in the hands of Long Chen, as if expressing something. Long Chen nodded his head and said, My dragon blood army, full of fearless and warm-blooded men, will surely find you a suitable master. After finishing, Long Chen put away the sword. This is the first harvest in the land of celestial burial. As expected, there is a harvest only when one pays. Someone's coming. Suddenly, Mo Nian, who was searching not far away, exclaimed. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 38:14 Dragon Dust was scared. How could this be possible? Besides him, is there anyone who can break through the barrier of heaven? Long Chen and others quickly gathered together, and soon they heard a strange noise coming from the distance. But here, the divine consciousness is suppressed and can't reach far away. The eyes can't see, and they don't know what the sound is. You see people? Long Chen asks in a low voice behind Mo Nian. I didn't see it, but I heard the footsteps. It should be the footsteps of people. Mo read in a low voice. How many people? Only one was heard. Go and have a look. Long Chen didn't believe that anyone could cross the mysterious barrier of heaven like them, so they approached carefully. Sand. As the crowd approached, the voice in front became clearer and clearer. It was the sound of people's feet, but the steps were very strange. They walked and stopped, and their movements were extremely slow. Dragon Dust and others came to a huge skeleton next to the probe to look out, and finally saw a figure. He was an old man in rags. His body was rotten and only his skeleton was left. But his head was still intact. There was a pair of withered eyes in his eyes. He was walking with his head down. He clenched his fist in his left hand and a long stick in his right hand. The long stick was branded with countless ancient runes, which exuded a sense of terror. It was a magic weapon. Sha sand. The old man, holding a long stick as a crutch, waddled along, stopped a few steps, and then went on. In his shriveled eyes, there is a void. Every time he stops, his head swings slightly from side to side, as if he is looking for something. His mouth also gives out vague syllables, which seem to be calling and choking. Is this a zombie? Guoran looked at the old man and said quietly, the body is dead, the spirit is immortal, the obsession is not sipping, and the breath in the chest is never released. This person has great concern before his life. He is not a zombie. There are only resentment, hatred, and killing thoughts in zombies, but there is not so much anger in this person. Just don't know what kind of obsession, let him have died for countless years, is still chasing. Mo Nian shook his head. Seeing that the old man had no intention of killing, the people put their hearts down and slowly approached the old man. The old man turned a blind eye to their arrival and looked for them. When Long Chen stood in front of the old man seemed to feel something and looked up at them. When he saw the old man's eyes, Long Chen, Mo Nian and Yu Shaoqian exclaimed at him at the same time. Tiantong Clan. Tiantong Clan is a race with terrifying pupil skills. One pair of eyes can control the world and destroy the heaven. The people of Tiantong Clan are easy to recognize. They have the human-like eyes, but in the eyes, there will be strange patterns of heaven. By Shaoless three-flower pupil is a kind of pupil technique among the Tiantong Clan. Although the old man's eyes are shriveled, it is clear that there is a plum blossom pattern in his eyes. When they saw the plum blossom pattern, they felt dizzy, and then they almost fell to the ground. They were scared to leave the old man and dare not look at his eyes again. The old man took a look at the crowd, continued to lower his head, and walked forward. The stick in his hand was still used as a crutch. He took a few steps and stopped, saying something in his mouth, and then went on walking. People looked at each other, cannot help but heart-crazy jump. This day buried in the burial place, what's secret? I saw the supreme power in front of me. Now, I even see a legendary existence, Tiantong Clan, which is as famous as the Jiuli clan in the legend. However, the strong man of Tiantong Clan is dead, but he doesn't know what he is worried about and what he is looking for all the way. People are scared. What era are these people? They are all dead and can walk around. This is too frightening. What level of existence was this person? How can such a terrible person die here? What was buried in the burial place? The stick in the old man's hand seems to be a treasure. Shall we take it? Guoran looked at the long stick in the man's hand. There were countless runes on the stick, many of which he didn't know. He couldn't help but feel excited. Do not profane your predecessors. Long Chen shakes his head and says, if it is a weapon of another race, he will not hesitate to rob it, but the hero of Terran cannot be desecrated. Hey! Kidding. Guoran laughed to cover up his embarrassment. As a result, the old man stopped suddenly and his body did not move, but his head turned from the front to the back. A pair of eyes looked at Guoran, and Guoran jumped up in fear. People were also scared, have to hold the weapon, once there is a strange, immediately hand. Hello, elder, I'm really joking. By a pair of withered eyes staring at himself, Guoran scared scalp numbness, hiding behind the dragon dust. All of a sudden, the pattern in the old man's eyes moved, his eyes seemed to have a look, the whole person also recovered a trace of vitality, the old man's eyes suddenly looked at the dragon dust. Can you take me to my wife? The old man suddenly opened his mouth, his voice was dry and astringent, with endless desolation and sadness, and also with a plea. As long as the younger generation can do it, it will be done for the elder. I don't know why. Hearing the voice of the old man's prayer, Long Chen felt a pain in his heart and agreed without hesitation. Long Chen has a kind of intuition. This is a hero who has made the last effort for the human race. They are noble and sacred. A noble hero pleaded with him. The taste of the hero's end made Long Chen feel very sad. Where is the elder's wife? Long Chen asked. She's here, but she can't be found. She's the one I love most in my life. My power of Tiantong is reserved for her. I want to find her body, run the last bit of the power of Tiantong, break the constraints of heaven, and reincarnate together. The old man said. Long Chen and other people's hearts jump wildly. Can the pupils of Tiantong clan really be so rebellious? Reincarnation is just a kind of legend. It is uncertain whether there is one. Even if there is, it is said that reincarnation also needs to comply with the arrangement of heaven. No one can resist it. However, this strong man who has been dead for many years has said such a thing quietly. Hearing the old man's words, Yu Zioqian's beautiful eyes turned red. This is a man of infatuation, and also the only obsession in his heart. This obsession has made him endure the whole number of years, which is moving. Don't worry, master. Long Chen will go all out. Dragon Dust of Fist agreed to the old man's request. He had no way not to agree. 9-star descendants are indeed the most trustworthy people. Seeing Long Chen's promise, the old man's mouth trembled and seemed to want to laugh, but the flesh of his cheek had dried up and could not finish the expression. Guoran, carry this elder on your back. Dragon Dust to Guoran Wei, Guoran's face suddenly green. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 38:15, No, Boss. They'll do it? How can I be worthy of this elder? Guoran is almost scared to urinate. Although this elder is not a bad man, he is already a corpse. Guoran is not afraid of the corpse, but his eyes are too frightening. Thinking of a pair of such eyes behind the back of his head, Guoran hit a cold war. You don't have to carry it. They'll carry it. If you encounter any danger, you can do it first. Dragon Dust Light Tunnel. Forget it. They'll do it. Guoran a bite of teeth, or scalp numb to carry the old man. The old man's body is stiff, cannot normally carry, he can only bind the old man to his body. Guoran knows that if Long Chen is carrying the old man on his back, in order to take care of the old man, in case there is any danger that will affect the performance of Long Chen, he will forget it. In order to ease the shadow in his heart, Guoran summoned battle armor and wrapped himself up so that he could feel more secure. Little hero, this is my wife's keepsake. Take it and it will lead you to her. The old man finished and handed his left hand to him. But the old man clenched his fist tightly and didn't let go. Long Chen was stunned. The old man said, I can't open my hand. Please help me take it out. The old man said, offended. Looking at the old man's dry fist, Long Chen apologized and reached out to break his fingers. Click! A finger was broken, and a silver exquisite hairpin was taken out from the gap between the old man's fist. The hairpin is very small, only 2 inches long. It is carved with exquisite lines, but also with a sense of chaos. A small hairpin is full of ancient chaos, which makes people surprised. It is a marvelous thing. On the head of the hairpin, there is a delicate flower. The flower is petals, and each petal has a different color. This is a kind of flower that has never been seen before. In the center of the flower, there is a crystal bead. Inside the bead, there is a delicate pointer. The pointer keeps shaking and finally points to a position. This is the depth of the celestial burial, just where we are going. Emo Nien looked at the pointer and at the map road in his hand. After giving the hairpin to Long Chen, the old man also handed the long stick in his hand to Guoran and said, "This is my weapon, please hold it for me too." Guoran couldn't help being overjoyed. He thought that the old man had given his weapon to him. Just as he was about to thank him, the old man said, "This weapon can only be stimulated by pupil skill. I'm afraid it will disappoint you." It's my lifelong honor to carry you on your back." Although Guoran was disappointed, he couldn't show it. Holding the long stick, I found that the seemingly heavy stick was not heavy, which was very strange. After giving the stick to Gua, the old man's eyes began to dim, and the whole person's breath disappeared, as if he had died completely. Long Chen certainly did not believe that the old man who survived from the archaic times would die so easily. Several people began to move on. Moon God Rhinoceros just walked a short distance. Yu Shaoqian saw a huge skeleton, cannot help but exclaim, "Moon watching God Rhinoceros? Archean relic species? Can rhinoceros horn easily break open space, such as cutting paper?" Emo Nien was shocked. Obviously, he had heard of the moon watching God Rhinoceros. It was a legendary existence and had already been extinct. I'm not sure. Just look at the rhinoceros horn. Yu Shaoqian rushes to the front of the skeleton and picks up the soil. The moon-watching god rhinoceros was not big, only 10 zhang high, and his head was buried in the sand. Although his body was shriveled, his breath was still amazing. Soon, a huge rhinoceros horn 3 feet long came into the eyes of the public. When they saw the rhinoceros horn, they could not help but exclaim, "Rhinoceros horn bright and clean as jade, with countless lines, just like a beautiful ornament, vaguely can be sensed, there is energy fluctuation inside." Baby, Emo Nien couldn't help swallowing his saliva. He is a person who knows goods, and this thing is absolutely a big treasure. Yu Shaoqian touched the rhinoceros horn with her hands, and finally found a thin texture at the bottom of the rhinoceros, which was 3 inches away from the nose bone. Long Chen quickly took out the black dagger, but Yu Shaoqian shook her head. The moon god rhinoceros is a spirit animal in the world, and its moon god rhinoceros horn is also a spiritual thing. It can't be contaminated with killing tools, otherwise it will lose its spirituality. Now I don't know how many years have passed. There is not much spirit left in the horn of moon watching god. If you cut it with your dagger, the horn will be completely destroyed. I'm going to pay attention to so much? Thank you for coming, otherwise this treasure will be destroyed in our hands. Emo Nien can't help sighing. Although Emo Nien and Long Chen have heard of the moon-watching rhinoceros, and they also know that the rhinoceros horn of moon-watching god is a divine object, they don't know how to get it. If it wasn't for Yu Shaoqian, they would have found the rhinoceros horn of moon-watching god, and they would only get a piece of waste in the end. Guoran and Xiaochen have never even heard of the rhinoceros horn of the moon watching god. They are like fools watching the fun. When they are with the 3 people, they feel that they have become idiots who don't know anything. C-month Small Qian took out a comb. That comb is white jade carving and become extremely exquisite. Yu Shaoqian uses the teeth of her comb as a saw to slide gently on the horn of moon watching god. What makes people feel strange is that when the comb glides rhythmically, the lines of the horn of moon watching god begin to crack slowly. Long Chen and Emo Nien are stunned. This involves my blind area of knowledge again. As expected, people are never too old to learn. Emo Nien can't help sighing that Yu Xiaoqian's technique can't see any principle at all. With the crack getting bigger and bigger, the rhinoceros horn of moon god seemed to fall off naturally, and finally fell into Yu Zioqian's hands. The place where it fell off was bright and smooth, without any trace of damage. It was just like this in nature. It was amazing. Hiss! Yu Shaoqian holds the rhinoceros horn of the moon watching god and waves it gently in the air. The point of the rhinoceros horn of the moon watching god crosses the void, and a thin line is drawn out in the void, as if a hole has been drawn in the void. People exclaimed, "The original legend is true, the moon god rhinoceros horn really can easily break through the void. It's a runaway artifact, but I don't know if there is a nourishing method. This horn of moon watching god will consume up its spirituality and become a waste in the end. It's a pity. Emonyandao. You just need to warm it up with your soul, and don't use it too often. Its spiritual power will recover itself. You know, the rhinoceros of moon watching god has been dead for many years, but the rhinoceros horn of moon watching god can survive on its own, which proves that the rhinoceros of moon watching god was extremely powerful in his lifetime," Yu Shaoqian said with a smile. With these words, Yu Shaoqian gives the rhinoceros horn of moon watching god to Long Chen, with a smile on her mouth. For you. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 38:16, Give It to Me? Long Chen was stunned. Yes, I've known each other for so many years. I wish I had never given you any decent gift. The rhinoceros horn of moon watching god can only nourish and control it if it is possessed of powerful spirit power. With it, you will have a super powerful means to protect your life. Yu Shaoqian said with a smile. The rhinoceros horn of moon watching god has powerful power to break through the sky. It is equivalent to a portable transmission array. Moreover, it can be started instantly without space limitation. It is indeed a life-preserving deity. Long Chen laughed. You silly girl. First, I have enough strength to protect myself. Second, my skill means that I can't rely on foreign things to protect my life. Third, you need it more than I do. Fourth, and most importantly, your life is more important than mine. Seeing the numbness of Long Chen's words, Emonian couldn't help shouting, Hey, hello, we are still here, you'll forget it. There are 2 single dogs next to us. We should pay attention to the influence and protect the animals. Guoran and Summer mourning a roll of white eyes. Mo read this guy's mouth good damage, they too also pulled in. Seeing that Longchen was not willing to accept it, Yu Shaoqian was teased by Emonian. She was embarrassed. She handed the rhinoceros horn of the moon watching god to Emonian and said, Don't give it to you. You have such a bad mouth and are chased and beaten every day. You need this more. Look down on people, don't you? My Emonyang's ability to escape is much more. Can I send a moon god rhinoceros horn? Emonian has no good breath. The point is, you don't have a bad mouth? The dragon can't help laughing. I'll go, and you too will follow suit. Will you deal with me? Okay, wait for my family Zhonging to come back. Emonian has no fear of tunnel. What's the use of that? When our sisters get together, you are still weak. Yu Shaoqian couldn't help being naughty. This. Mo Reed suddenly stopped. Why don't you find some sisters for Sister Zhonging? Month small Qian Shi a smile, but smile with a touch of cunning. Mo Nian was scared to shiver. Lu Zhonging was a big vinegar jar. If it was overturned, it would be fatal. Okay, you are cruel. I'll admit defeat in this game. Mo Nian directly admitted that he dared to argue in other places, but he really did not dare in this respect. Yu Shaoqian wants to give the rhinoceros horn of moon watching god to Xiaochen, because Xiaochen is a Fu cultivation and has strong soul power, so she can also control the rhinoceros horn of moon watching god. But Xiaochen doesn't want to live or die. He claims that he has enough strength to protect himself. This is a treasure discovered by Yu Shaoqian. How could he like to ask for it? I think it suits me. Guoran was very thick-skinned, but then he said helplessly, It's a pity that my poor soul strength is more than enough. When Guoran said this, everyone laughed. Guoran's soul power was really too weak. Even if Long Chen had promoted him many times, his growth was still limited. Seeing that everyone didn't want it, Yu Shaoqian had to refine it by herself. In the same month, Xiaoqian dropped a drop of blood essence with the power of soul on the rhinoceros horn of moon-watching god. The light of the horn of moon-watching god bloomed, and it was very easy to complete the recognition of the Lord. It turns out that the rhinoceros horn of the moon god, whose owner died for too long, has already developed a self-consciousness. Yu Xiaoqian feeds it with the power of her own soul. It suddenly looks like a drowning person and grabs the life-saving straw. Even it is more urgent than Yu Xiaoqian. Because it is alone here, cannot get the nourishment of the blood soul, before long, it will wither away, so, the month Xiaoqian blood, it immediately recognized the Lord. The rhinoceros horn of moon-watching god, which is 3 feet long, shrinks rapidly to only 1 inch long. It is placed on the left index finger of Yu Xiaoqian, just like a delicate and beautiful fingertip and a beautiful ornament, but it has the ability to break through the sky. Yu Xiaoqian is surprised. With the rhinoceros horn of the moon god, Yu Xiaoqian's ability to protect her life is rising rapidly. She will never be trapped by a group of people like last time. Bang! Guoran pulled out a huge broken sword from a piece of sand. The sword was 10 feet long. It seems that it was used by the giant. Unfortunately, there is too much loss of divinity, and it has been completely abandoned. However, some runes above still have research value. Guoran sighed and took up the broken sword. By the way, Guoran, you are very lucky. We should move separately, keep a certain distance, enlarge the scope and search for the past all the way. Longchen suddenly remembered that the strong man of the dragon clan said that because Guoran was too weak, heaven would take care of him. If we split up, this guy may find good things. He should not only pick up these rags. People are right to think about it. However, there are no outsiders here. There should be no danger. This is the place of celestial burial. Don't take it lightly. Don't leave too far away. Keep in touch at any time. Mo Nian reminds Wei. Everyone nods. At this time, Guoran is not afraid of the old man behind his back. Everyone moves separately. Guoran and Xiaoqian turn left, Yu Xiaoqian and Mo Nian turn right. Longchen has a hairpin in his hand. He is responsible for controlling the direction. 5 people line up, each thousands of miles apart, can clearly sense each other's breath, then began to move forward slowly. Go, boss. I found a jar. It's complete. Boss, I found a good knife again. Haha, there is still a space ring, which can be opened, made rich. Guoran kept shouting and yelling, this guy, really good luck, less than a stick of incense time, on the harvest of several things. Don't yell and scream, be careful to lead to monsters, learn to make a lot of money with a dull voice. Longchen didn't have a good breath. This boy is too fond of showing off. In fact, Longchen was lucky enough to harvest several weapons. Although many of them were broken, some runes were completely preserved, which should be useful for Xiaoqian and Guoran. In addition to weapons, dragon dust also took a crystal nucleus from the corpse of a Warcraft beast. Although the crystal nucleus has split, there is still a trace of energy in it, which is also valuable. Along the way, everyone has a harvest. Longchen found that when he entered the world of 3000, his luck was much better than before. Maybe the blessing of the dealing people was really effective. Just entered the 3000 world, dragon dust met the ice soul. This adverse weather movement let the dragon dust some can't believe. Now, it is more continuous harvest of good things, but also let Longchen's heart bloom. When he was lucky in his life, he didn't seem to have much. Master, fended. In front of Longchen, there is a skeleton of a strong man of human race. He kneels on one knee and stabs his sword into the ground. Although he has died for countless years, his body still stands. Longchen took out the sword in his hand, and the body immediately decayed and turned into dust and scattered on the ground. This is also a powerful realm artifact. The long sword and scabbard are intact. The dragon dust treasure it. Along the way, Longchen continuously harvested several good things. Suddenly, Longchen's face changed, Guoran, but to the surprise of Longchen and Mo Nian, Guoran did not reply. When he looked at others, he found that he had disappeared mysteriously, and everyone's heart was mentioned to his voice. www.novelhold.com the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 38:17 Guaran mysteriously disappeared, everyone was scared, everything came too suddenly, there was no sign. The four rushed to the place where Guaran had just arrived. Fortunately, Guaran was wearing battle armor, leaving clear footprints on the ground. They looked forward along Guaran's footprints and suddenly found a huge corpse in front of them. The corpse has a huge head, sharp teeth, like a sharp knife. It has been immortal for hundreds of millions of years. It still gives people a feeling of incomparable sharpness. The body is short and powerful with a tail trailing behind it. It looks like a crocodile, but its proportion is extremely strange. The mouth occupies almost 2/3 of the body, the head is big and the body is small. It looks very incongruous. Its huge mouth is open, it seems to be roaring, but also seems to be swallowing, so quietly lying there, like the skeleton of a mountain standing there, giving people a very terrible pressure. Look at the shape. This should be the legendary toad swallowing the sky. Be careful. The swallowing people are very terrible. Dragon dust reminds Wei. Isn't toad supposed to have 3 legs? Emon Yen can't help asking. No, the 3-legged toad is called the golden toad. It is the king of the toad family. The 4-legged toad is 1 level lower than that of the toad. Long Chen explained. With these words, they continued to look along Guaran's footprints. Sure enough, this guy went straight to Tunshin Toad, and judging from the range of his footprints, they obviously ran past. As you can imagine, seeing the toad, Guaran thought he was going to find the treasure again, so he ran over with great excitement. They ran along with Guaran's steps. When they got to the mouth of Toad, they suddenly disappeared. You wait for me. I'll go and have a look. When he stepped on Guaran's last footprints, suddenly there was a flash of light on the countless sharp teeth in the mouth of the toad. Ooh, the powerful force of space enveloped the dragon dust. The figure of dragon dust disappeared in an instant, and Emon Yen, Xia Chen and Yu Xiaoqian outside were startled. It's the power of swallowing. In the morning of summer, you should guard outside. Don't let Toad's mouth close. Let's go in and have a look. Small Chen finished saying, also walked past. Yu Xiaoqian just walked to the end of the footprints, and the person disappeared in a moment. Emon Yen nodded. This is the space of swallowing Toad's body. Brother, you can guard the outside, as long as you don't close the mouth of Swallow Day Toad. If you don't worry, see if you can pull out all its teeth, it's absolutely all treasure. Emon Yen pats the shoulderway of summer morning, finished saying, also walked past, the body disappears instantly. Damn me, when Emon Yen just entered an open place, he couldn't help but cry out. He saw the endless gold and silver and piled up into a mountain. Guaran is beating Jinshan crazily. Long Chen and Yu Xiaoqian are also helping. Boom! With a bang, a colorful mountain peak was abruptly broken by the dragon dust and rolled down from the top of the mountain with a loud noise, rolling all the way to Emon Yen. The mountain is thousands of miles high. The whole body is made up of various kinds of immortal finance. Its weight is immeasurable. Emon Yen is scared to hide away. The mountain falls heavily at his feet. Waga, make a fortune. Make a fortune. Guaran Fei rushed over, holding the golden mountain, dancing with excitement. You boy, you're so lucky. I'm afraid the toad was a terror and devoured so many treasures. Emon Yen see Guaran nothing, but also found such a treasure, cannot help but envy the tunnel. It's a terrible fart. Without us, he came in by himself and couldn't get out. Finally, he could only be trapped here. The dragon dust shakes his head. Yu Xiaoqian said, I'm afraid that the toad swallowing the sky was a terrible existence, swallowing many strong people. Toad swallowing the sky is one of the gold-swallowing beasts. It is specialized in swallowing all kinds of gold. The immortal gold enters the body and can control the power of gold. It is invulnerable to fire and water. There are so many fairy gold here. They are all the best among them. If they are refined, they will be wonderful. The first time I saw these immortal gold, I wanted to create dragon blood battle armor and dragon blood sword. When the time comes, gather up the brothers of the dragon blood army and arm them up. Who dares to be arrogant in front of me and fight his underpants directly? Guaran's face was proud of the tunnel, as if he had seen the invincible scene of commanding the Dragon Blood Army. Hurry up and put them away. Don't let Xiachen worry. Dragon Dust Road, said words, began to dismantle the mountain. The gold mountain is tens of thousands of miles high. However, not all the gold in the whole mountain is the best. The part above the mountainside is the best. The quality of Jinshan is related to the cultivation of Toad. When he was weak, Toad could only swallow some low-level immortal gold to strengthen himself. However, with the gradual improvement of cultivation and strength, it could begin to swallow more and better immortal gold. The gold from the mountain peak is the top-level material for casting the realm artifact. Before that, Guaran and Xiachen were still worried about where to find a material to make the boundary artifact. As a result, he cut off several mountains in succession and got enough materials to arm every dragon blood soldier to his teeth. In order to save time, they only took the best part of the gold. After all, it was very hard to collect the gold mountain. In addition to Jinshan, Longchen searched for another place. There was a black water swamp, which was a place of death. Even if the immortal gold was thrown into the swamp, or even the boundary artifact entered the black water, it would be corroded. Guaran looked at the sword in his hand. There were honeycomb-like holes in the place where the black water had infected him. He was shocked. What water is this? So terrible? This is the stomach juice of Toad, which is one of its strongest killing moves. When it devours the enemy, it is doomed that the enemy will die or die. This is also the most terrible place of the Tunshin clan. Their stomachs are the most powerful weapons. Uxiakian explained. Boss, what are you looking at? Is it? Guaran saw the dragon dust looking at the Blackwater swamp, cannot help but ask. Don't you think it's a good thing? Longchen asked. Boss, do you mean? Guaran reacted all of a sudden, and his eyes were shining. He remembered that Longchen had given him the water of the underworld. No, this thing can corrode even porcelain pieces. However, soon Guaran was dejected. At first, he could use porcelain to resist the corrosion of the water of the underworld, but not here. I have a way. All of a sudden, Yu Shaoqian said. P.S. I'm not very well recently. I'm in poor condition. I'd like to ask you to take a few days off. They'll change my watch every day and update it at 6 p.m. I'm very sorry. The old devil will adjust his state as soon as possible, restore the update and make up for it. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 38:18 Uziokian's jade hand is engraved, and the Taoist runes are emerging from Uziokian's palm. At the same time, the vast water system fluctuates, and Uziokian's whole body is surrounded by endless water vapor, and the space becomes blurred. Shaoqian, when did you become a water practitioner? Longchen looks at Yu Shaoqian in shock. In Longchen's impression, the power of the strong people of the first demon clan is not Yuan force, not aura, but the power of starting devil. It is totally different from most practitioners. She has never heard that Yu Shaoqian can control the power of water system. Yu Shaoqian said with a smile, in every world the disciples of the first demon clan must concentrate on cultivating the power of starting demons and lay a solid foundation. After flying to the fairyland and lighting the sacred fire, I will awaken the new power again. My destiny is water, so I can control the power of water system. Why don't you use the water power when fighting with corpse plague? Did you keep it then? Longchen couldn't help asking. No, my original magic power and water power are of the same origin, and the power between them can be changed back and forth. My water power is no threat to the corpse, so I only use the power of the first devil to suppress him, Uxiakian explained. With Uziokian's jade hand, endless water vapor transpiration, the black water in the swamp began to surge, slowly gushing into the void. Hiss! When Uziokian's fingerprints changed, the power of water all over her body rushed to the black water. In that month, the water power of Shaoqian touched the black water, which immediately aroused the water atmosphere all over the sky. Can all other water corrode? People are surprised that water and water can blend at any time. In that month, Xiaoqian's power of water touched the black water, just like touching the red-hot iron. It stimulated the water vapor all over the sky, and the pungent smell came to her face. When she smelled the smell, Guoran suddenly felt dizzy, her body shook and almost fell down. "Close your pores." Dragon Dust cried, "The water vapor is very poisonous. Although it is not fatal to inhale a small amount of it, I don't know whether it will continue to damage the body. It's better to be careful. It's horrible. A little moisture almost makes me faint." Guoran can't help but wonder. The water vapor is not black water, but the water power of Yu Shaoqian is evaporated, stained with a trace of black water power, but has such terrible ability. If it is swallowed by black water, even if there are 10,000 lives, it is not enough. In the water power of Yu Shaoqian, countless runes condense, like a water dragon, swallowing part of the black water, forming a ball about the size of a foot. The black water ball is covered with a transparent film. There are countless runes flowing on the film to lock the black water inside. When a black water ball floated to Guoran, Guoran couldn't help but feel numb. "Sister Shaoqian, do you have a strong water film?" "Don't worry. It's a good prison," Yu Shaoqian said with a smile. Guoran was about to reach out to touch the water ball. The water ball suddenly fell on the ground. Guoran screamed with fear and jumped into the air directly. He was afraid that the water ball would burst and splash him with black water. However, when the water ball fell on the ground, bounced high and high, repeatedly played several times, but nothing happened. Seeing that Guoran was scared to look like that, Emon Yen and Long Chen couldn't help laughing. Yu Shaoqian didn't expect to frighten Guoran into that, but she was a little embarrassed. "It'll go good, so I can rest assured." Guoran is not angry, holding a black water ball excited. "After you go back, you and Xiaoqian brand a detonator on it, and you can use it as a weapon." Yu Shaoqian finished and kept busy. After an hour, more than 100,000 water balls were extracted. The smaller diameter was about feet, and the larger diameter was several feet. After all, Yu Shaoqian is also touching the stone to cross the river, little by little to adapt to the production of water polo is bigger and bigger. When more than 100,000 water balls have been made, the water in the black water swamp has been used up. Originally, Longchen intended to use the black soil in the chaotic space to make a container to hold the black water, but Yu Xiaoqian's hand made it much more convenient. This black water looks like water, but it's actually sticky gastric juice, with terrible corrosive power and deadly toxicity. If you put them away, you will give them a terrible card. Even if you run into the army of the most powerful people, if you pour the black water over, you will die a lot. The existence of such terror, even so dead here, I don't know the scale of the First World War in those years. Will Jinshan black water almost? Looking at this vast space, Emon Yen cannot help but sigh. This is the inner world of Toad. Even if the Toad died for countless years, the space here is still stable, which shows how powerful the Toad is. The creatures of the archaic era were nourished by the Qi of chaos. Their strength is beyond our imagination. Long Chen also sighed. Before entering the 3000 world, he never thought that there were so many horrible creatures in this world. Compared with them, he seemed too weak. "Let's go. Don't stay too long to worry about summer morning." Month Small Chen Wei collected these black water. Month Small Chen's color slightly some pale. Obviously this thing is not so easy to collect. People nodded, and when Guoran came in, he had already made a mark, and that position was the space node. However, when Guoran attacked the space node, an embarrassing scene appeared. No matter how hard he tried, he could not break through the door of space. Hiss, Uxiaqian's fingers stroke on the void, and the horn of the moon watching sky on that finger flashes. The void is cut open, and the light comes out from the mouth. Fierce, Long Chen couldn't help admiring the color on his face. The rhinoceros horn in the moon watching sky is really a magic object. Originally he wanted to use a dagger to break through the void with violence, but now he doesn't need it at all. The four men came out of the space crack and saw Xiaoqian concentrating on collecting toad teeth. "What's the harvest?" See the dragon dust and others come out safe and sound, summer morning happy tunnel. By my luck, I have to harvest a lot. It seems that you are good too. See the summer morning these teeth arranged according to certain rules, seems to find something. I found a treasure this time. There are 72 teeth, each of which is a treasure of realm artifact. Moreover, there are natural patterns between them. I have just studied them, and they are of great use. I don't think this set of teeth is worse than Zyokian's rhinoceros horn. I'm sorry, brother. Although you found it, it has to be mine. Summer morning is a little exciting. Guoran hahaha laughs, he gains more, is Jinshan, is Blackwater, just about to show off with Xia Chen, but was interrupted by Long Chen. Let's go. There are treasures all over the place. Opportunities are rare. Don't waste time. There should be more treasures in the depths. The crowd continued to march into the depth of the burial ground, but strangely enough, there were no more corpses, only the boundless desert. After walking in the boundless desert for a whole day, they even thought they were in the wrong direction if it wasn't for the pointer of the hairpin and the map of Emonian. All of a sudden, Long Chen and Emonian stopped. In front of them, there was a huge cave. The whole cave was made up of endless skeletons, and endless air of death came out of the cave. It seems that this is the real heaven burial place. Emonian looks at the hole, and his face becomes serious. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 38:19, Is this the grave? Guoran couldn't help asking. Guoran thought that the celestial burial was just a place surrounded by heaven. He didn't expect to be buried in the ground like a normal tomb. The celestial burial is what the heavenly way wants to bury. It is said that the celestial burial will only appear in the year of great war. The way of heaven regards all living creatures in heaven and earth as their own children. When too many creatures fall at the same time, the way of heaven will be sad, and eventually bury these creatures together. Emoniandao. Not necessarily. At least, I've never felt the goodness of heaven. Long Chen skimmed his mouth. Or maybe you're a foreign child and you're not welcome. Emonyang said with a smile that he also knew that Long Chen's luck was extremely bad, and that Tianjia had become a punishment. He had never studied why the heavenly way would treat Long Chen like this. When they came to the cave entrance, they found that the cave was made up of endless skeletons. The bones on both sides of the cave presented strange shapes, symmetrical on both sides. They were not natural but like artificial altars. Emonian walked around the hole for a long time. He kept drawing with a pen and paper in his hand. Soon, a set of patterns appeared on the paper. When people saw the patterns on the paper, they could not help but take a breath of cold air. The design turned out to be a huge devil's head. The hole in the cave was just the devil's mouth, which looked frightening. People stood in front of the cave, unable to peep at the whole picture, but Emonian drew it out, which made people feel a little creepy. Please, this is a dead door. Emonian's face changed. What do you say? Long Chen asked. Tombs have gates of life and death, and the two gates of life and death are the key to keep the tombs alive. To put it bluntly, the tombs are also alive, and they need to breathe and exhaust air in order to keep the tombs running completely. The gate of life is the air inlet, and all that enters is the breath of life, which can nourish the body and prevent the body from rotting. If someone worships the dead all the time, the power of faith can keep the spirits of the dead immortal. If the spirit of the strong cannot be extinguished, it will be able to suppress future generations' chi luck. Meanwhile, some magic weapons and precious treasures will be buried in the tomb cough. You don't have to look at me like this. I'm not greedy for property. I'm archaeology for the pursuit of historical truth. Speaking of this, Emonyang sees the color of understanding on the faces of Long Chen and Guoran, and can't help but feel embarrassed, but Long Chen and others don't believe it. In order to cover up the embarrassment, Emonian continued, the so-called death gate is the place where the chi of death is excreted. After the chi of life is absorbed by the corpse, part of the dead gas will be discharged, and the dead gas will contain the negative emotions of the dead, such as resentment, hatred, unwillingness, anger, and fear. Such emotions are mixed in the stillness, and they are discharged from the dead gate. The place where the dead door is bound to be a piece of barren land. But where there is a tomb of later generations, the dead door of the tomb is more important than the living gate. Do you know why? Mo Nien looks at all humanity. But wait for a long time, no one to speak. Mo read, immediately embarrassed. How to build a word? Oh. Summer Morning had to pretend to be very curious. Because the door of death must be cleaned up regularly by people, because once the dead gas is not discharged, it will nourish the horrible evil corpse. Even if the evil corpse is not nourished, some small animals and insects will turn in and be infected by the dead air. Some will die immediately, while some will survive and mutate. I often encounter some mutant corpses. Their teeth can directly bite through the helmet and iron armor, and teeth are highly toxic. Once bitten, is immortal. This is the place of celestial burial, and no one comes to clean up the dead door. You see, we can't see any bones in this period of time. I'm afraid. Mo Nien's face is dignified. Are you afraid these skeletons have become evil corpses and enter the tomb? He said, it's possible that if I guess it right, we'll have to face the ancient evil corpse if we go in. Our current cultivation is no different from death. Mo read a deep voice. That's not good. Let's go to the student school. Hearing the Taigu evil corpse, Guoran felt his scalp numb. He didn't want to meet the Archean monster. No way. The students are on the other side of the skyline. We can't get through. Mo Nien shakes his head and gives the map to Guoran. Sure enough, the whole place of celestial burial is divided into two parts by the skyline. Mo Nien has just refined the map according to the location of the Gate of Life. The location of the Gate of Life is just at the other end of the skyline, opposite the Dead Gate. What about that? Why don't we continue to search the periphery? After all, the external scope is also large enough for us to explore. Guoran suggested. Long Chen shook his head, looked at the hairpin in his hand and said, this elder's beloved wife is in the tomb, entrusted and loyal. Besides, they have already arrived here. They should go in and have a look at them. Otherwise, how can they be reconciled? I said, Mo Nien, can you stop playing games? We all know that you are an expert in tomb raiding. You don't need to be mysterious. What can we do? Speaking of the end, Long Chen looks at Mo Nien. At this time Mo Nien is still a face of dignified color. Long Chen can't help but some disdain. He didn't believe in Mo Nien, who robbed tombs all the year round. There was no way. This guy deliberately created a tense atmosphere in order to show his ability. Being torn down by the dragon dust, Mo Nien could not help but feel embarrassed and said, cough, there are ways to do it, but I have to knock you first. Don't be careless. After all, I have never been in the place of celestial burial. This is the first time. We must not be careless. Careless fart, I'm scared to pee by you. I said, Brother Mo, Uncle Mo, can you not exaggerate the atmosphere like this? This place is really scary. Guoran couldn't laugh and cry. Ever since he came in, Mo Nien has been making an atmosphere. Guoran has been very nervous and feels that his soul is going to be scared out. Now that everyone is aware of the danger, come on, everyone. With these words, Mo Nien began to divide clothes for everyone. This dress also has a headdress on it. When people wear it in public, they are like playing a monster, and they are scared. Mo Nien, you don't want to scare away the evil corpse with this dress up? Guoran couldn't help asking. Frighten a fart. There is a special smell on my clothes. When evil corpses see us, they will think that we are evil corpses and will not attack us. Mo Nien has no good breath. With these words, people dressed up and walked slowly to the huge cave. When they were close to the cave, gusts of overcast wind came out of the cave. In that moment, everyone's hair stood up. Even if she is as brave as dragon dust, she can't help holding the handle of Minghong Dao, and her right hand grabs Yu Zioqian's jade hand, for fear that she will encounter any danger. Walking along the cave, it was dark inside. After walking for more than 10 zhang meters, Guoran in the back suddenly let out a cry of surprise, and the hearts of the people suddenly raised to their throat. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3820, What's the matter? What are you shouting about? Gua ran a cry, scared people a jump, but did not find anything unusual. Summer morning cannot help but angry tunnel. No, we have no way back. Gua ran stretched out his finger at the back. When he leaned back, he was blocked by an invisible wall. Gua ran started to walk with the crowd. Suddenly, he felt something different behind him. He turned his head and looked back. As a result, his forehead touched the invisible wall and was startled. At that time, he thought there was something invisible behind him. It's nothing strange. It's a door of death. Death can't come out, and anger can't get in. Every step we take, there will be a wall of death behind us, preventing us from going back. I forgot to tell you before. Emonyandao. What do we do when we go out? Gua ran couldn't help asking. Let's see, maybe we can cross the skyline from the tomb, and maybe we can go out from the birth gate. Emonyandao. The crowd moved forward cautiously, and Xiachen told Gua ran not to make any noise at all. When this kind of high tension is high, people can really scare people to death. Along the passage, unconsciously, people began to hold their breath and tighten their pores. The breath of death here is too strong. If inhaled too much, it will be harmful to the body. Click, click. All of a sudden, a strange voice sounded, startled the people. Emonyen said, "Don't be afraid, the front is the door of the tomb." All the way forward, as Emonyen said, there was a gate in front of them. It was not big. It was 9 feet high and 6 feet wide. On the dark red gate, countless runes were carved. This rune. When Xiachen saw the rune above the gate, he was surprised. It was a rune he had never seen before. It's all curse runes. This door, can you pass it? Although the rune above could not be recognized, after careful identification, Xiachen confirmed that it was all curse rune. If you pass through this door, you will be cursed by runes. This is not a joke. If you are cursed, sometimes it's worse than death. It's okay. The clothes I give you have the lines of God, which can resist this curse. Emonyandao. It is obvious that he often does this and has been prepared for it. When people approached the gate, they found that it was a wooden gate. Longchen was shocked. What kind of wood is this? Can it last for hundreds of millions of years? Ding! Emonyen took out a dagger and stabbed it on the wooden door. As a result, the Jiu artifact level dagger he had just found was punctured, but there was no trace left on the wooden door. They'll go. What kind of wood is this? It's harder than the boundary artifact. Emonyen was also surprised. Although he encountered various doors when he was robbing the tomb, it was the first time that he encountered such a terrible wooden door. Although his dagger is a broken realm artifact, it is very sharp, but there is no trace of hair, which is too terrible. Don't look at me. I don't know. The wood lines are like the sun talisman, which is similar to the legendary Fusang ancient wood. But the legendary old wood of Fusang is yellow or golden, and the old wood is black. I dare not say anything about it. Month Small Qian see Dragon Dust and Emon Yang and others are looking at her. She shook her head, even if she learned, also uncertain. Fusang ancient wood? The birthplace of Jinwu people? The source of the sun's fire? Longchen can't help but be surprised. The grain looks like it, but the color doesn't match. Moreover, the wood is black in nature, and it's not like it was dyed the day after tomorrow. Therefore, I dare not say whether it is an ancient Fusang wood. Yu Shaoqian said. Obviously, Yu Shaoqian is a very strict person, not sure about things, will not make a guess. Long Chen and Emonyen looked at each other and said at the same time, "What's the matter? Do you want to do it?" They both wanted to go together. They both took a fancy to the gate. When they finished, they began to study the gate. Click, click. At this time, the gate opened slowly, and the dragon dust retreated a step and was hit by the gate. Boom! With a bang, the dragon dust hit the wall hard, and the violent air waves gushed, shaking Guaran and others. No one thought that the slowly opened gate had such terrible power. Dragon dust was so shocked by the gate that his chi and blood gushed and almost no blood gushed out. They'll go. Thank you for being hit. If I get hit, half of my life will be lost. Everyone is leaning against the door. Emon Yen said to all humanity. People do not understand what is going on. in accordance with Emon Yen's words to do, are tightly pasted on both sides of the door. At this time, a strong air flow slowly comes, and the airflow speed is not fast. However, when the air current flows through, the summer morning suddenly feels that the breath is not smooth, and the body seems to be crushed by a mountain. At the same time, blood overflows from the eyes, nose, sun, and ear. Long Chun quickly pulls Xiachen behind him and helps him resist part of the pressure so that he feels more comfortable. When the invisible air flows slowly past, the gate began to close slowly, but Long Chen and others did not rush in because the axis of the gate was outside. What is that? Why is it so terrible? Xiachen felt a little bit frightened. The airflow was too strange and sudden. If it wasn't for Long Chen, he might be crushed to death. There are crises everywhere. Death will come at any time. It's terrible. That's the airflow in the tomb, which is equivalent to people farting. You can think of it as a living spirit with energy running inside. It's just that I didn't expect that the airflow in the tomb of this celestial burial place is so strong that I forgot to remind you. I'm really sorry. Emon Yen is somewhat apologetic. Although the airflow in the tomb of heaven's burial place does not pose a threat to him, Xia Chen's body is weak, and it is still very dangerous without prevention. Let's not talk about this. How about this wooden door, our brother, 2 1 plus 5, 1 for each family? Long Chen looked at the huge wooden door, and he had a premonition that the origin of the gate must be extraordinary. In fact, Long Chen is not interested in the strength of the wooden door itself, nor the rune on the wooden door, but the wooden door itself. Long Chen has a bold idea. If the wooden door is thrown into the chaotic space, will it take root and sprout? If it succeeds, it will really be developed. Although Jinmu Shinshu can still provide massive vitality to Longchen, with Longchen entering the fairyland, its healing ability obviously began to decline. To know that the vitality of chaos space is the biggest survival guarantee of Longchen. He had to consider planting more powerful trees to replace the wood god tree in the future. If he could plant the wood alive, it would be great. Really dry? Emon Yen's face was shocked. You think I'm joking? Longchen has no good breath. I've never demolished the dead door, and I don't know what's going to happen. Emon Yang's face was muddled and forced to tunnel. He thought that Longchen was going to cut off a piece on the door, but Longchen wanted to take it all away. Courage is the output. Come on, he'll chop off the door spindle. You can follow up. The others will step back. I'm afraid the wooden door is heavy. Longchen said, took out the black dagger, came to the doorpost, a dagger to the door shaft. Hishi, in front of the black dagger, the shaft of the wooden door that can't even be damaged is like tofu, and the door shaft is instantly cut off. When the door shaft was cut off, a wooden door fell with a terrible roar, and the huge force even made the space crack. It'll go. Boom. Emon Yen wants to support the gate, but the gate falls down, just like a world under pressure. Emon Yen has no room to struggle, so he is slapped on the ground by the gate. After a bang, Emon Yen's figure disappeared, only a door, quietly lying on the ground. Save people quickly, Longchen was also shocked and then reacted. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3821. Do your best. Long Chen gnawed his teeth. He didn't dare to summon the battle body here. He had exhausted all his strength, and the wooden door trembled slightly. The wooden door was too heavy. It was more heavy than the one made of immortal gold. I don't know how many times. Xia Chen, Guoran, and Yu Shaoqian also helped. Xia Chen and Yu Shaoqian did not have much strength. Fortunately, Guoran was wearing battle armor and had the strength of the supreme arm, so they barely lifted the wooden door. Collect. Dragon Dust stopped drinking, his arms suddenly forced, the wooden door trembled suddenly, and Longchen was put into the chaotic space. With a bang, the wooden door smashed hard on the earth in the chaotic space, and the earth was directly smashed out of a big hole. Longchen didn't care to look at the wooden door and rushed to check Emon Yen. The guy was beaten flat. Fortunately, he was wearing the black helmet at this time. When the dragon dust pulls out Emon Yen gasps and spits out the dust in his mouth. Next time you come to pick it up, it's too heavy. It's almost killed. I'm going to visit the cemeteries. If I'm killed by the door, it'll be ruined. Mo Nien hates the tunnel. Everyone was surprised and funny. Mo Nien was so strong that he didn't die. No wonder he was chased and killed for so many years. His vitality is amazing. Did you put that door away? I haven't sealed your curse rune yet. If that thing is scattered, your star space will die. Get it out quickly. Mo Nien suddenly said. On that wooden door, there is a terrible curse rune, which must be sealed with the secret method of his limitless palace, otherwise the harm will be endless. Long Chen looked at the wooden door in the chaotic space and found that it was lying there quietly. The rune originally depicted on it had been erased by some force. On the dark wood, Long Chen felt a trace of vitality, and it seemed that there was a sign of withered trees coming to spring. At this moment, Long Chen was suddenly excited, and it seemed that there was a door. It's okay. I can handle it. This wooden door is extremely terrible here, but when it is thrown into the chaotic space, it is nothing, just like ordinary wood. Get out of the way. All of a sudden, Mo Nien rushed to the road, and they quickly hid behind the remaining half of the wooden door. Just then an invisible undercurrent came. This time, everyone was prepared. The undercurrent roared past, and no one was injured. After the undercurrent passed, Long Chen began to use a dagger to chop down another gate post, while Mo Nien was making seals for the wooden door. Click, click. When the wooden door fell down slowly, Long Chen pushed it into the air by the weight of the wooden door itself. At the moment of the wooden door flying, Mo Nien quickly put the wooden door away. Haha, brothers are of the same mind, and their prophets cut off gold. I said, this treasure is predestined with me. Put away the wooden door, Mo Nien laughed. Although he also gained a lot of good things along the way, this guy has high vision and despises them. Now he has finally got a decent baby. This guy is not very happy. If it was not for Long Chen, he would not dare to make the wooden door. After the wooden door was taken away, the crowd quickly moved on. Without the wooden door, they would have no place to hide if the undercurrent came again. All the way along the passage, 9 channels suddenly appear in front of him. Mo Nien takes out a rusty compass. There are countless runes on the compass. Mo Nien is comparing the runes on the compass with the runes on the channel. Go. Mo Nien studied it and directly led the people to the third passage on the right side. Boom! At this time, the passage issued a deafening roar. The whole passage was shaking, as if there was a flood coming. It's the gas of death, but it's not strong enough. We can resist it. Mo Nien just finished, an invisible torrent roared past, and the people quickly stabilized themselves. Although they were washed back a few steps, they were not as terrible as the outside. After all, there are 9 channels outside, and this is just one of them, so people can easily take over. All the way forward, the passage is very long. After being impacted 7 times, the passage finally reaches the end, and here, the spirit of death is more intense. At the end of the passage, there is a square stone gate, which is opened up and down. When Long Chen and others arrive, the stone gate opens slowly, but Mo Nien does not move. When the stone gate opened, people saw that under the stone gate, there were many powders. Because of the long history, they could not see what the powder was. It seems that we are not the only ones who enter the celestial burial place. Long Chen looked at the powder and couldn't help sighing. Among the powder, there are ashes, clothes powder, and pieces of magic soldiers. Obviously, someone came here and should be killed by the stone gate. If they rush past, the stone gate will fall like a big knife and kill the intruders. This must be the same intruder as them. Unexpectedly, someone can break through the barrier of heaven, but I don't know what method they use. However, it is certain that those who can find this place are not ordinary people. They have amazing skills or amazing tools. There are a lot of powder under the stone gate. There are all kinds of colors. But even the boundary artifact cannot resist the extrusion of the stone gate. Judging from the amount of powder, it seems that there is not only one person here. There is no solution to this problem. There are many things on the ground opposite. Obviously, Some people have tried them out in various ways. In other words, things can pass, but people can't. As long as people pass by, the stone gate will fall down like lightning and can't avoid it at all. Fortunately, we just got a treasure. Emon has a smile. Boom, with a bang, Emon called out the huge door panel. Fortunately, the passage here is big enough, and the door panel is placed on the channel, just below the stone gate. If the stone door falls, it will first hit the wooden door, but I don't know whether the wooden door can withstand the strength of the stone gate. Emon carefully leaned forward when Emon came to the bottom of the stone gate. Boom, with a loud noise, the stone gate smashed hard on the wooden door, so fast that it did not give people time to react, and everyone was shocked. But fortunately, after a big bang, the wooden door was safe and sound, and the stone gate bounced back. See, wooden door is okay. Emon immediately put heart, so walked in the past, easily arrived at the opposite side. Emon passed, and then all of them passed by once. However, each passed person, the stone gate would be smashed violently. Although I knew it was okay, the terrible speed and power were still frightening. When all the people had passed, they pulled the wooden door together. The wooden door was smashed continuously. There was only a slight damage to the wooden door. Its firmness was amazing. Boom, after the crowd came, the stone gate fell slowly, directly sealing the back road. Roar. At this time, a low roar came, and then a creature over 10 feet tall and with long horns on its head appeared in front of the public. As soon as the creature appeared, the hairs of dragon dust and others stood up. Archean Evil Corpse, and www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 38:22, Hide your breath and don't move. Emon face changed, and he hastened to convey his voice to all souls. Longchen instinctively wants to draw a knife. After being reminded by Emon, Longchen realizes that he is wearing Emon's camouflage suit. The 5 men stood motionless as wood, and when the creature approached, they could see clearly the face of the creature. This is a human creature with 2 black horns on its head. Its hand is like an eagle's claw, its hand is over the knee, and it still has a tail behind it. Its whole body is shriveled, but when it comes near, the strength of qi and blood makes it difficult for people to breathe. This is a terrible archaic creature, but no one has ever seen such a creature. Even Emon, Longchen, and the learned Yu Shaoqian don't know each other. A shriveled evil corpse has little blood essence left, but it can still give people endless pressure. This evil corpse is definitely not a nobody. The creature stood in front of Longchen and others. The people were afraid to move. The creature found them, but did not attack them. Instead, they circled around them for 2 times, and then left slowly. Seeing that the creature left, the heart of the people's voice was put down. This shows that Emon's disguise can indeed deceive the evil corpse. Evil corpses are formed by the evil spirits in the tomb. They have no consciousness, but they will attack the living creatures crazily. Let's not talk about the strength of the evil corpses themselves, but the stillness of their bodies. If they are bitten or scratched by them, they will be fatal. Therefore, when Emon robbed the tomb, he was most afraid of meeting the evil corpses. They were too difficult to handle. Moreover, when he met a horrible evil corpse, even Emon had to run away. The evil corpse slowly left, and then the crowd moved outward and moved cautiously. Through the passage, there was an open space hundreds of miles in front of them. This is the Cave of Death. The spirit of death of the whole tomb is gathered here, and then it passes through the death passage and is discharged from the dead door. We have to bypass the grave to enter the tomb. Be careful. This is the place where evil corpses are most likely to breed. Emon preached to the public that we should be vigilant. Guoran, don't pull me, I'm afraid too. Summer morning feel behind someone pulling him, can't help but not good gas tunnel. I didn't pull you. Guoran's voice trembled and looked at Xiachen in horror. Guoran said that 5 people in an instant scalp numbness. Who, all of a sudden, Longchen hit the void with a fist, a dull sound, and an air wave excited. It seems that the fist of dragon dust hit some monster, and the monster screamed with pain. But what made the people's scalp numb was that they didn't see what the monster looked like. For a moment, the faces of the 5 people all changed. "Dragon dust, do you see what that is?" asked Yu Shaoqian. "No, I just hit it with my feeling. It's not big, it's not strong. It's like hitting a scarf." Dragon Dust Road. "He'll go. I've been robbing tombs for so many years, and finally he'll meet a ghost?" Emon Yang's eyes are going to stare out. "How could it be? How can there be ghosts in this world?" Xiachen retorted. What he said was not a ghost in every sense, but one of the 6 ways. They are a kind of spirit body, which can be hidden between the heaven and the earth. Ordinary people can't see them at all, unless they have the spirit pupil. The spirit pupil, right? The dragon dust said words, will right eye closed, will open the left eye, launched the purgatory eye. At that moment, Dragon Dust saw countless translucent light groups, wandering in the void. Those are ghosts. With the power of soul, Long Chen shares the perspective with others. In this way, people also see these transparent spirits. These spirits are the size of fists. They are like clouds with a small tail trailing behind them. Like fish, they roam back and forth in the air. If it wasn't for the perspective shared by Dragon Dust, they couldn't see the ghosts at all, but they didn't have any malice. They seemed to be swimming unconsciously. There were even a few ghosts swimming back and forth around Xiachen and Guoran, who seemed very curious about them. If you dare not stay with other dragons, you will not be attracted by other people. These creatures have no intention of killing and no malice. I read a book in the Source of the Devil. There are good and evil creatures in the book. Some will ask for their lives and some will help others. However, some of them are greedy for property and some like to play tricks on others. The more scared you are, the more they like to play tricks on you. Longchen, do you remember that you used to bribe ghosts to lead you the way? Yu Shaoqian said. Longchen smiles. He does buy off ghosts. He is not afraid of them. His power of natural calamity is their nemesis. You mean these are troublemakers? Longchen laughs. Suddenly, Xiachen bravely reached out to grab a ghost-living creature dangling in front of him. However, he was shocked to find that his hand passed through the creature, but did not catch anything, as if the creature was just illusory. What's going on? Summer Morning can't help but be surprised. There are many special energy bodies in Ghost Way. Ghost Way is also the most elusive existence among the 6 channels. They can be converted between substance and nothingness. When you grasp it, they will be transformed into nothingness, and you can't grasp it at all. Uxiakian explained. Xiachen is not convinced and grabs it for several times, but it seems that the creature is very interesting. Instead of being powerful, it runs back and forth around Xiachen, leading Xiachen to catch it. Since they're harmless to us, let's leave them alone and keep searching. After the initial curiosity, everyone gradually calmed down. Red Way. There are many crises here, and there are many evil corpses wandering around. They must seize the time to search for treasure. All of a sudden, Long Chen stretched out his hand, and a creature who had been around Yu Shaoqian was seized by Long Chen. GGG. The creature was caught by the dragon dust and turned into a palm-sized human creature from a cloud of fog. It screamed and struggled madly. Can you catch it? All of a sudden, the ghost creature was very angry and opened his mouth. The snake-like teeth appeared on his mouth and bit the finger of dragon dust. Long Chen's fingers were in sharp pain. Long Chen thought that with his body, he was not afraid of the little guy's biting. However, he did not expect that his fingers were bitten and bleeding by this creature. At the moment when the finger of dragon dust bleeds, the creature in the hand of dragon dust suddenly froze, and the ghost creatures wandering back and forth in the void also stopped swimming. They began to shiver in the void, as if to see something that frightened them. GGG. The creature in Longchen's hand at this time was scared to scream, as if pleading for something, and kept praying to Longchen. Is it because the Ghost Emperor's mark? Longchen's heart is pounding. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3823 Emon Yen, Yu Shaoqian and others are also shocked. They don't know what happened. The living creature keeps worshipping and begging, which is very pitiful. It chirped and seemed to be saying something, but no one could understand it. Dragon dust, try to see its soul. Emonyandao. Dragon dust but suddenly fell into silence. Emonyen cannot help but ask, "What's the matter?" "I'm afraid it will involve too much cause and effect, which will implicate us all." The voice of Dragon dust sank. At the beginning, he used the eyes of purgatory to see the flower of the road. If Xia Guhong hadn't reminded him, he didn't know what would have happened. If you use the eyes of purgatory here, if you see something you shouldn't see, there is no Xia Guhong here, and they may even die. In this world, if we don't have enough strength, we will die if we see something we shouldn't see. Before Longchen didn't believe it, but after the last big loss, he didn't dare to look at some things easily, especially some things that could not be controlled. "We'll try it. Can you get it to hand over the map of the place of celestial burial?" Mo Nian is right to think about it. Some taboos can't be touched. Otherwise, even if it's okay now, we'll add cause and effect in the future, and then we'll settle in the disaster. Some things are better not to be provoked, but if we can get a map, it will be much more convenient. The creature seemed to understand Mo Nian's words and murmured in a burst of shouting, but people did not know what it called. Seeing that Longchen and others didn't understand, the creature suddenly stood on the head of Longchen and continued to kowtow to Longchen, and then bravely sucked a drop of blood on Longchen's wound. When the creature sucked a drop of dragon dust's blood essence, the creature screamed. This time, although the dragon dust didn't understand what it said, it could know what it wanted to express through wonderful induction. This ghost creature was in great awe of Longchen. He felt very frightened when he bit Longchen. He begged Longchen to forgive him and not kill him. When he learned that Longchen wanted to know the ancient tomb map, he volunteered to help him lead the way. At the same time, through its description, Longchen roughly drew out a map sketch. But the expression of life is not clear, and Longchen himself is not a master of painting. He can't understand the map. Finally, the people discussed, or let the ghost lead the way. Longchen told him to take them to the place where there are many treasures, and at the same time, he took out some things for the ghost to identify. The ghost creature was very clever. He kept nodding to show that he understood the meaning of Longchen. Suddenly, he was barking at other ghost creatures. As a result, those ghost creatures, as if they were very afraid of it, began to lead the way in front of him. He stood on the shoulder of Longchen, looking like a fox pretending to be a tiger. Yu Shaoqian looks funny. This ghost creature looks like a 3-inch tall little man. Its eyes are like mung beans, and its mouth is a little big, showing 2 sharp teeth. Just now she was submissive, but now she is very fierce and funny. Those ghost creatures were leading the way in front of them, and Longchen and others were following behind. Strangely, those evil corpses wandering in the tombs after the ghosts led the way began to turn a blind eye to Longchen and others, as if they could not see them. However, passing by these evil corpses, it is still frightening to feel the horror in them. The breath of these creatures in the archaic era is too terrible. According to the judgment of Longchen and others, these evil corpses should be the realm of the king. However, the pressure they put on Longchen and others is thousands of times stronger than that of ordinary gods, and even comparable to the city master of Inua City. Moreover, hundreds of evil corpses roam back and forth in the passage. Many times they have to brush past them, saying that they are not afraid is a lie. The guys in the Archean era are too strong. If we were born in the Archean era, we can't even rank in the middle level with our current accomplishments. Guaran looked at these horrible evil corpses and could not help but whisper, "Cut, you are saying stupid things. If we were born in archaic times, we are still the darling of the times. The strong are always strong. The reason why we are so strong is not by luck, but by strength. When the water rises, the ship will be high. If it was in the Archean era, when there was plenty of chaos, we would never be at this level." Mo Nian is extremely confident. "I can't say that. The key is that in the ancient times, there were so many graves for you to dig?" Longchen asked. "Shit, you're a little embarrassed." Mo Nian has no good breath. People can't help laughing. Mo Nien lives by robbing tombs. I'm afraid there aren't so many big tombs for him to dig in ancient times. Click, click. Suddenly, a huge stone gate opened. At the moment when the stone gate opened, the fierce gas came to his face. However, Long Chen and others felt a terrible pressure, and all of them could not help but retreat. "I'll go, in the public, I can't help but cry out after looking at the stone gate. See a square circle of hundreds of miles of space, on the walls around, inlaid with countless bodies. Although these corpses have been dead for countless years, their bodies are relatively complete and even shriveled, but they still have the power of terror. GGG. Standing on the shoulder of Longchen, the ghosts screamed at Longchen. At the same time, they even talked and demonstrated. Their two small hands were pinched together for a while, and then they were in the shape of embracing each other. It said, there are a lot of places like this, it means here is small, there are bigger. Longchen explained. People then understood that holding two hands together means small, and opening arms means big. This ghost creature is quite interesting. It also said that the biggest place, there are terrible evil corpses guarding their partners. Some people have been eaten by evil corpses, we should be careful. Longchen continued. Can evil corpses eat ghosts? Mo read along. Longchen looked at the ghost creature, who was talking and gesticulating, pointing to his eyes, and then opened his mouth, showing two fangs, pretending to be fierce. It said that there are evil corpses in it that can see them. They have the special ability to eat them like rats. Longchen explained. Looking at the frightened appearance of the ghost creatures, we can see that they are very afraid of those evil corpses. When they came to this open place, there were many grooves on the wall. In each groove, there was a corpse standing. After a glance, they did not find the body of the strong man. The demons, the blood, the underworld, the orcs. Mo Nyang looked at the bodies and kept distinguishing their race. When Mo Nien came to a strong orc, the orc suddenly opened his eyes and jumped down from the wall. Mo Nien was shocked and instinctively slapped him with a shovel. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 38:24. The ORC was knocked to the ground by Mo Nien with a shovel, but the ORC was very strong and did not get hurt. He rolled over and jumped up again. Don't be afraid. It's the troublemakers who control it. Longchen is in a hurry. When Longchen said this, Mo Nien saw from the perspective of dragon dust that there was a ghost living creature in the orc's body. He did not know when he entered the body. "I'll go and have the ability?" Mo Nien was surprised. Bang! The warhammer in the orc's hand was thrown down. Obviously, these ghost creatures received the order of the small head on the shoulder of Longchen and collected weapons for them according to the meaning of Longchen. It's a well-preserved realm artifact. The runes on it are archaic runes, and the original power has been preserved. Good guy, the treasures obtained from outside are incomparable. Guoran held the hammer, a surprised face tunnel. The casting techniques and inscriptions are completely different from those of today, and the traces are clearly visible, which is of great help to our study of casting techniques in the Archean era. Summer morning also a face of excitement. Compared with the artifacts obtained from the outside, it is difficult to reverse the casting method because of the excessive weathering and many damaged parts. Bang, bang, at this time, many corpses moved. These ghost creatures even entered these corpses and began to collect weapons and armor with these corpses. Guoran and Xiaqin are not excited. All these booty are collected by them and are ready to go back to study. Tens of thousands of corpses, a total of more than 3,000 weapons and more than 200 pieces of armor, as well as some other artifacts. Well, look down and show his horn. Guoran carried a big hammer and stopped a ghost who was working. The ghost creature controls a Tauren ORC. The Tauren orc has no weapons, but its ox horn is favored by Guoran. There is a golden rune on the horn. Although it has been dead for countless years, the golden horn still glitters and gives people terrible pressure. Boom! The Tauren half ORC was very obedient, lowered his head and allowed Guoran to explode with a hammer. Guoran smashed more than 10 times, almost using all his strength to suck milk, and then he smashed down a horn of an ox. The body of this ORC with ox head is amazing. Guoran's supreme arm is still tired and sour. The tiger's mouth is split by shaking, and then he takes off a horn. Looking at the dense gold runes above the ox horn, the breath of palpitation flows, and Guoran can see that his mouth is watering. Good thing, the rune on the ox horn should be a set of array combination itself. As long as you find the breakthrough point, you can activate the original magic power of the horn. This thing is inlaid on your helmet. It's powerful and practical. It's just for you. Xiachen looks at the ox horn carefully and excitedly says that there are runes inside and outside the horn, which is definitely a rare treasure. Hey, good brother, you know me. With a smile, Guoran put an ox horn on his helmet and drew back and forth. As Xiachen said, Guoran's helmet was inlaid with golden horns, which immediately became majestic and murderous. The style of the whole armor became different and full of fierce spirit. Guoran and Xiachen are busy working, directing those ghost creatures to do their work. They try their best to search all the treasures here. It's just a pity that these ghost creatures can only do some superficial actions to control these corpses, but they can't play their real combat power. Otherwise, Longchen will have a strong guard team. Moreover, these ghost creatures don't have much energy. The time to control the corpse is limited. It is too heavy for them to control such small creatures and control such large bodies. After a while, they can't stand it, break away from the body and start to rest. Xiachen and Guoran stare at the treasures here, while Longchen, Emon Yen and Yu Shaoqian are staring at the black gas in the eyebrows of these corpses. GGG. All of a sudden, the little guy on the shoulder of Longchen seemed to understand what Longchen was studying. He was screaming. It said that the black air is the energy to ensure the immortality of their bodies. These ghost creatures rely on the black gas to maintain their life. They are free to go around here and use the black gas as food. I hope we don't destroy the bodies. Dragon Dust Road. I feel a little strange. The layout of the heaven burial place is different from the legend. And the placement of these corpses is obviously unreasonable, which involves my blind area of knowledge. Emon Yen couldn't help shaking his head. Longchen and Yu Shaoqian look at each other. This guy can really pretend to be forced. If you don't understand, you can't understand it. Why is your blind area so big? Don't be blind. Don't be blind. Emon Yen, do you have any doubt that the so-called heaven burial place is a conspiracy? Longchen asked. Conspiracy? You mean it's impossible? Emon Yen was surprised. He understood the meaning of dragon dust, but still some can't believe it. Celestial burial is the self-will of the heavenly way, so to speak. Emon Yen can't help but say, still some can't believe. Maybe I am suspicious. I always feel that something is not right. Let's take a look. If we can't see anything, we can ask this little guy again. Longchen Dao, he always felt that there was something wrong with the place of celestial burial. Especially looking at the black air in the eyebrows of these corpses, he always felt a kind of scalp numbness, as if he had touched something extremely dangerous. Seeing this tomb reminds Longchen of the deep pit in the Mountain of Magic Spirit in Tianwu Continent, the hardware chain and the huge skeleton under the Wanggu Road, and the scene of endless stars bound by chains seen from the perspective of a strong dragon clan. In short, it is a very bad feeling. All the things were cleared up. Under the guidance of those ghosts, they went directly to the second tomb. With them, everything went smoothly. After walking more than a dozen tombs in a row, everyone harvested countless treasures. Xiachen and Guoran were almost crazy with happiness. In particular, Xiachen found a book about runes in the space ring of a strong man. All of them recorded some runes of the archaic era. For him, he was a treasure. After 3 months, they have nothing to deal with, because they have nothing to deal with. 33C9-298, that is to say, all the tombs on this side have been explored, and further on, there will be the core tomb. Emon Yen has been holding the map contrast. After the map is put away, the face is dignified tunnel. At this time, in front of the people, there is a huge passage which is tens of thousands of miles wide, which is just a world. At the end of the passage, there is a dead silence. Looking at the end of the passage, people's soul is pricking and the heart is afraid. Long Chun spread out his hand, and the pointer on his hairpin was pointing to the end of the passage. Long Chun took a deep breath. Let's go. The biggest secret should be hidden in the main tomb. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 38:25. Along the huge passage, walking forward, 5 people are like 5 ants walking on the broad road, so small. And the more forward, the more inexplicable pressure, so that their hair cannot help but stand up. GGG. After walking forward for a period of time, all of a sudden, the ghost on the shoulder of Dragon Dust began to chirp. It told the Dragon Dust, the front into the danger zone, and then forward there will be cannibal monsters. And other ghosts, at this time also dare not lead the way in front, but hide behind the Dragon Dust and others. The crowd moved forward cautiously. Long Chen held the dagger in his right hand, and the thunder rune flashed on his left hand, ready to hand at any time. Mo Nian has also entered a state of combat, and has already come here. It is impossible not to go in and have a look. No matter what danger there is, it has to rush forward. Step on step. All of a sudden, there was a footstep in front of him. Long Chun saw a strong man in strange clothes walking back and forth. He was a middle-aged man with a sword on his back and a cold face. Seeing the man, Long Chen and others were startled. He was a king of the world. His blood was surging like the sea, and his skin was as smooth as jade. If it was not for the fluctuation of his soul, he could not be seen as a dead man. The most important thing is that although he is the king of the world, he gives a huge amount of prestige. The space around him is constantly distorted and the scene is amazing. When Long Chen and others are close to a certain range, suddenly the strong man with a long sword stops and turns his head to look at Long Chen and others. When he looked at the Dragon Dust and others, everyone's eyes tingled. Long Chen was shocked and had a terrible will. This man is Jinxiu. When Long Chen understood the identity of this person, he waved the dagger in his hand. At this time, the strong man had already cut his sword down with a bang, and the long sword in his hand was cut in two by the sharp dagger. Boom! Mo Nian slapped it with a spade. The man held the broken sword grid and sparks splashed everywhere. Mo Nian was shocked by the man. How strong Mo Nian's heart was awe-inspiring. His long sword was cut off, and there was only one hilt left, which could block his attack. Hishi, hishi. The man waved the broken sword in his hand, and there was a trace of sword spirit on the hilt, tearing the void and killing the Dragon Dust. The sword spirit inspired by the broken sword is cold in my bones. He was definitely a kendo master before his death. Bang! The man was confronted with Dragon Dust. Long Chen cut off his arm with a dagger. Mo Nian took the opportunity to pat the spade on the back of the man's head, and the man was immediately beaten to the ground. Xia Chen held the seal script and was about to shoot it on the man. Suddenly, Long Chen's face changed and pushed Xia Chen away. Be careful, hiss! Just after Long Chen opened Xia Chen, the man's only hand, which was pointed out by the curved finger, even inspired a bloody sword light, which just flew by Xiaokin's cheek. Boom! The bloody sword light hit the overhead passage and sent out a startling explosion. The whole passage was shaking. This blow was very powerful. Everyone was scared. He was so terrible that he could make such a terrible attack when his weapon was gone. Xia Chen avoided the blow, reached out and patted a ruined Zhuan on the man's brow. The seal character glowed, and the person's body trembled and then stopped moving. It's a terrible evil corpse. Fortunately, the eldest brother cut off his sword at the beginning. I'm afraid there are still many terrible tricks behind him. Guoran has a lingering fear. People's hearts tremble. This sword cultivation is too strong. Fortunately, he didn't give him too much space to play, otherwise he would die. What a pity for this sword. Guoran took the broken sword and looked at the shining mirror-like body of the sword. He could not help but feel the pain on his face. It was definitely a magic weapon, but he was cut off by the Dragon Dust. When Long Chen heard the words, he put the dagger away. It's not that Long Chen loves the long sword, but the dagger. It's not easy for him to use it. He almost blocked it out just now. If it's empty, he will die. It's better to replace it with Ming Hong Dao. It's safer. This dagger is not suitable for fighting. Boss, there is some chaotic qi left in this man's body. I can use the seal script to extract the chaotic qi temporarily. While everyone was talking, Xiachen was studying the corpse and found that the immortal evil corpse had lasted hundreds of millions of years because of the support of chaos in his body. However, this chaotic qi is mixed with corpse qi, which cannot be directly absorbed. However, it can be extracted first and then purified. The purified chaotic qi can be used. If Xiachen's theory is successful, it will be a very amazing means to bring the qi of chaos out of the 3000 world. If the number is enough, those dragon blood soldiers who have not entered the 3000 world will have a chance to supplement them in the future. The seal characters pasted on the body of the evil corpse quickly lit up, and the evil corpse quickly shriveled down, and finally turned into a mass of ashes. Without the air of chaos, his body instantly decayed. Senior, I'm sorry. Xiachen put away the seal script and bowed to the strong man of the clan. Dust to dust, earth to earth. I believe this strong kendo would rather die than live forever. Emoniandao. Obviously, he is a strong swordsman of a generation, but he has become a walking corpse without consciousness. This experience is not very emotional. Summer morning, we will be responsible for attracting the attention of other evil corpses. You are responsible for pasting the seal rune. We will cooperate. The evil corpse is too strong. Pay attention to safety. Dragon Dust admonishes away. After saying that, the crowd continued to move forward, and everyone played up the spirit of 12 points, and did not dare to have the slightest carelessness. Hiss, walking, suddenly very suddenly, a flash of void, a cold light straight to the moon, Xiaoqian shot. When Yu Xiaoqian waved her sword to block her, sparks splashed in all directions. The huge force made her arm numb and her face slightly changed. What's the situation? The crowd was shocked and didn't see what it was. I don't know. It seems to be a concealed weapon, but it's not like it. It's too fast to see clearly. Yu Xiaoqian, eyes look around but cannot determine what it is. When, all of a sudden, the Minghong sword of dragon dust roared and fell, and a burst of sound made the Minghong sword tremble suddenly. A bloody light was shaken off and hit the wall hard, which made the whole passage shake again. At that moment, all the people could see that it was a bloody bat the size of a fist. The whole body was red, with sharp claws and fangs, and its wings were like a knife. It's the legendary Vajra blood batten. When she saw the bat, Yu Xiaoqian exclaimed. Vajra blood batten is a kind of terrible and ferocious spirit. Its claws and teeth are highly poisonous, and those who are caught in it can't be saved. Moreover, its body is extremely tough. Its teeth, claws and wings are natural artifacts, which are sharper and harder than gold. When the Vajra blood batten hit the wall, its wings suddenly shook, and its body disappeared in an instant. Unexpectedly, it had the ability of stealth. The moment it disappeared, people's nerves became tense. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3826, Hishi, Hishi. The Vajra blood batten flies back and forth in the air, as fast as lightning. If it fails to hit, it will be invisible. When, after accumulating strength for a long time, Long Chen finally grasped the opportunity again, hit the Vajra blood batten with a blow, and the Vajra blood batten was shot to the ground with a bang. When the Vajra blood amulet can't jump out of the blood. Empty the chaos in the Vajra blood batten. When the seal script is searched, the body of the Vajra blood batten has no change. Dragon Dust put the body of Vajra blood batten in his hand and couldn't help exclaiming, Vajra blood batten, the body is so strong that it's unbelievable. Thanks to its small size, if it grows into a giant, I am afraid that no living creature can subdue it without the chi of chaos. The flesh of Vajra blood batten can also be completely preserved, which is enough to prove the horror of Vajra Bloodbatten, which is absolutely fatal. GGG. The ghost on Dragon Dust's shoulder chirped a few times, then his body shook and disappeared. And the Dragon Dust hand Vajra Bloodbatten suddenly moved, the body a flash, like a flash of lightning to Guaran. Guaran was scared. Don't make a fuss, Dragon Dust said coldly, and the Vajra Bloodbatten immediately flew back to Long Chen's hands. It turned out that the ghost had occupied the body of Vajra Bloodbatten, deliberately intimidating Guaran. These ghost creatures are very naughty. They like to frighten anyone who is timid. Just that moment really scared Guaran. I can't imagine that it can control the body of Vajra Bloodbatten, and the speed is not reduced. It seems that this ghost creature may have been a bird creature before he died. Yu Shaoqian said, ghost creatures can control the Vajra Bloodbatten, which is beyond everyone's expectation. Before, although they could control the evil corpse, they could only do simple actions and could not fight. Well, I've got a helper. Summer Morning laughs. The ghost, with the body of Vajra Bloodbatten, seems to have become more confident. He takes the initiative to lead the way, and suddenly the Vajra Bloodbatten flies back. Boom! The dark passage shook, and the people's faces changed, and a dozen evil corpses roared and rushed over. This fool, how can you attract so many people all at once? People were scared. Vajra Bloodbatten suddenly startled more than a dozen evil corpses. There's no way. There's only one war. The ring behind the Dragon Dust blooms, and the Ming Hong sword roars and explodes. One knife cuts the living creature with wings behind it. Boom! With a bang, the living creature was shaken back by the sword of Dragon Dust. Under the full blow of Dragon Dust, these archaic creatures in the fairyland could not bear it. The creature was stumbling by the dust of the dragon. Just as he was about to fight back, a seal character was accurately printed on the center of his eyebrows. When he was stunned, he could not move and was immediately sealed. Boom! Silent recitation also beats down one with a spade. In the morning of summer, he bends his fingers and flicks, and a seal character flies out to seal the living creature. Boom boom. Long Chen, Mo Nian, Yu Shaoqian and Guaran all at the same time. They don't need to fight with those evil corpses. They just need to give Xiachen a chance to get a seal. However, these creatures are too powerful. 5 people spent a lot of effort to seal these 10 creatures. This body is too strong, each one has infinite strength. It's really hard to entangle. Mo Nian looked at these sealed bodies, and could not help but look dignified. These are all the evil corpses in the fairyland. They have been struggling with more than 10 of them. After all, it's not on the ground. The laws of heaven are different and the space is small. I don't know if I can summon a vision. Even if I do, I don't know whether it will be suppressed. This is still the evil corpse of the fairyland. If you encounter the evil corpses of the God Zun realm, they are as complete as they are, it would be too dangerous. I don't know how many living creatures were buried in the burial place on that day. The living creatures in the tombs they had seen before were all rotten, but the living creatures here were all intact. The evil corpses here are so much more powerful than those they met when they came in. Mo Nian felt for the first time that there was no bottom. This was the first time that he encountered such a dangerous place. When Xiachen took back the seal script, except for the bodies of 2 powerful Terrans, the rest of the bodies were not rotten. Although the spirit of chaos was taken away, the flesh could still be preserved. When people look at these bodies, they can't help but feel fluffy. It's frightening that the bodies can still be preserved for hundreds of millions of years. Looking at these corpses, Long Chen suddenly moved his mind and sank his mind into the chaotic space. He found that there were more than a dozen small particles emerging on the door panel thrown into the chaotic space. To Long Chen's surprise, the miraculous trees in the chaotic space began to wither in a large area, and their vitality seemed to be drained out in silence. Not only the trees, but also the precious herbs planted by Long Chen have withered. Only the colorful glazed trees and the heavenly way trees are not affected at all. Are these particles tree buds? Is it sucking life force for itself? Dragon Dust heart crazy jump. If this is true, this is too overbearing. It seems that chaos space for the first time this kind of situation. It seems that the Qibao glazed book and Tiandao tree dare not move, and the rest of the spiritual plants are forcibly extracted by it. That piece of magic eye water lily seems to be in a crazy resistance with it, not to let it extract its own vitality, but its leaves have begun to wither signs, obviously cannot resist. You know, magic eye water lily is a species of undead. It is very strong. Now it has reached the 5th level, which is equivalent to the realm king of human race. Because Jinmu Shinshu grows to the extreme, before the Qibao glazed tree enters, all the nutrients are absorbed by the magic eye water lily, so it grows to be so strong. Now when this door panel comes in order to revive the dead trees, it crazily absorbs the vitality here. When the vitality of the land is absorbed, it absorbs the life of other spiritual plants. It seems that the appearance of magic eye water lily will not last long. When the time comes, all spiritual plants in the chaotic space, except the Qibao glazed tree and Tiandao tree, will be sucked to death by this door. Longchen moved in his heart and reached out to throw the corpses of these creatures on the ground into the chaotic space. When the corpse enters the chaotic space, the black soil is like a hungry wolf and instantly devours the corpses. These corpses release a huge breath of life in an instant. At that moment, the spiritual plants in the chaotic space, like the dying seedlings, absorb the life gas crazily. The most important thing is that there is still some chaotic gas left in these corpses, which can't be pumped out in summer morning, but it is all released here. When the air of chaos is released, the whole chaotic space seems to become active all at once. Even the golden lotus flower above the void becomes energetic. Click! Suddenly, the door in the chaotic space makes a light sound, and a thumb-sized particle on the door panel breaks open, and a black bud is born inside. Whoo! The black bud just appeared. A black flame wrapped the bud in the flame. As soon as the flame appeared, Hua Ling Er, who was lying motionless in the distance, jumped up all of a sudden. This is the fire of Taiyin? This is not the wood of hibiscus, but the wood of Taiyin. Longchen was shocked. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3827 The Fire of the Taiyin ranks 7th in the Sky Fire list, ranking above the Ice Soul. Under the sun's fire, it is the most yin and soft flame in the world, opposite to the sun's fire. Longchen didn't know the wood of Taiyin, but he knew the fire of Taiyin, because the black flame flowed like water. With the same characteristics of water flame, only the reverse water spirit flame on the earth fire list, and the Taiyin fire on the sky fire list. The black flame is only the size of a water drop, which is wrapped with a bud the size of a sesame seed. The flame slowly burns, and it seems that people and animals are harmless. Its fluctuation is not strong, but when the soul penetrates into it, it can feel the little flame, but contains endless energy. But this energy is extremely soft, does not show the edge. The fireling sun stares at this small flame, unexpectedly can't help but shed saliva. The dragon dust was startled and hurriedly said, "Girl, this is the fire of the wood of Taiyin. You can't make it now. If you want to eat, you have to wait for the tree to grow up." Such a drop of Taiyin fire is not enough for the fire spirit to plug the teeth. Moreover, it is said that the wood of Taiyin and the fire of Taiyin coexist. Without the fire of Taiyin, the wood of Taiyin will die. If Hulinger doesn't hold back and eat them, there will be no place for Longchen to cry. Longchen counted it. Above the wooden door, there were 108 kinds of fire, that is, the shoots of 108 Taiyin trees. These 108 buds, which are smaller than sesame seeds, have consumed endless vitality in the chaotic space. Longchen does not know how much vitality they need to consume when they grow up, which is probably a long and distant process. However, the wood of Taiyin, the legendary divine wood, is stronger than the realm artifact, so we can know how precious it is. Moreover, it is accompanied by the fire of Taiyin. When these sacred trees grow up and the trees of Taiyin grow up, Hulinger will have a continuous supply of food. This time, the dragon dust is growing. Once the tree of Taiyin grows up, it will provide him with endless vitality and will no longer be afraid of being hurt. Excited at the same time, Long Chen also knows that the number of corpses needed by these tying trees to grow up is probably beyond his imagination. However, it doesn't matter. His enemies are all over the 9 days and 10 places, and there are countless major races. He doesn't need to look for them by himself. As long as he is strong enough, he doesn't need to worry about these things. Dragon dust moved in his heart, took out the dagger, and divided the door panel into one piece, and finally divided it into 108 pieces. The black dagger cuts gold and jade, cuts iron like mud, and cuts immortal gold gate post like tofu. However, it is extremely difficult to cut the wooden door, just like cutting beef tendon with a blunt knife. When the door panels are cut, the soul power of dragon dust consumes a lot. 108 door panels and sprouts were scattered around the chaotic space, and the chaotic space in the fairyland was 10 times larger than before. There was an open space around. Long Chen scattered 108 tree buds to the edge, so that it did not directly affect the core area. Otherwise, when they grew up, the middle field would be useless. Today's chaotic space is too big, everywhere is empty land, only the core, planted with trees, there are more than 90% of the surrounding places, are empty spaces. However, the Taiyin wood has not yet grown up, and Long Chen cannot sacrifice these wood building trees and magic eye water lilies, or he will be injured and will have no vitality to recover. Therefore, the dragon dust removed 108 tree buds and kept a certain distance, so as not to kill Jinmu tree and magic eye water lily. At that time, the wood of Taiyin did not grow up and could not absorb the vitality, so the dragon dust would be embarrassed. After finishing these tasks, Long Chen's divine consciousness withdrew from the chaotic space. Mo Nian and others saw that he suddenly stood still and did not disturb him. Several people were discussing the way of fighting. Among all the people, Xiaoqin's seal script is the killer of evil corpses. Mo Nian also has some fuzhuan, but they are used to protect their lives and are not willing to use them easily. However, Xiaoqin was different. He could draw it at any time with a big hand. Before entering the 3000 world, Xiaoqin had prepared numerous inscriptions, enough for several years. Several people studied the way of fighting, how to get the best time and angle for Xiaoqin's attack, how to expose the enemy's head to the greatest extent, and try to solve the evil corpse with the fastest speed and the most labor-saving way. Come on, let's go on. Dragon Dust finished saying, to the shoulder of the Vajra blood Bata yelled a few words. This ghost creature is very naughty and is not under control at all. Just now, it deliberately attracted so many evil corpses just to see how busy and disordered people are. It's not that it's bad, but it's natural. It's very curious. It wants to try everything. Just like a naughty child, it's out of control. If there are ghosts and ghosts, they will be more annoying if they are not ghosts. After Long Chen scolded him severely, the ghost creature became more honest and continued to lead the way. However, this time, it didn't dare to come around. Only 1 or 2 evil corpses were attracted at a time. Mo Nian and others could easily subdue them. These sealed corpses, dragon dust directly into the chaotic space, handed over to the black soil to devour, release a lot of vitality, to nourish the spiritual plants in the chaotic space. All the way forward, they killed hundreds of evil corpses all the way. These evil corpses are of various types, and each one is very strong, and it is more and more difficult to deal with them. Even some evil corpses are extremely rich in fighting consciousness. They failed to seal several times in the morning of summer. However, it was still Dragon Dust who used the power of thunder to penetrate its eyebrows and kill them with the most violent means. Fortunately, the thunder power of Lei Linger is the thunder of natural calamity. It has a great restraining effect on these evil corpses. Once hit the key point, you can kill them with one blow. As the crowd moved forward, the evil corpse in front of him became more and more powerful. At first, it was just the evil corpse of the early stage of the Fairy King. Later, the evil corpse of the later stage of the Fairy King appeared. Finally, a terrible evil corpse of the Realm King appeared. It was a terrifying monster. It was thousands of miles long, and almost sealed the whole passage. The terrible qi and blood suppressed the breathing of Longchen and others. The dragon dust and Emon Yen attacked each other from the left and right. With Xia Chen's Fuzhuan script, it was forced to seal it. When the dragon dust threw it into the chaotic space, endless vitality erupted. The original withered trees and magic eye water lilies became prosperous in a flash. Even those tying trees grew from the size of sesame to the size of mung bean. Longchen was overjoyed that the evil corpse in the realm of the king of the kingdom had such terrible vitality. What if it was the evil corpse in the realm of god worship? When dragon dust is ecstatic, suddenly the Vajra blood bata, who is leading the way, sends out a cry of panic. Bad, Longchen's face suddenly changed, and he rushed forward like a flash of lightning. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 38:28. At the same time, the ghost dragon is pulling the ghost blood out of the body. At the same time, the ghost dragon is pulling the blood out of the body. GGG. The ghosts are frantically struggling, but the body has begun to leave the body, and is about to be sucked away by the mysterious power. Bang! The dragon dust cuts down with a knife, the void trembles, and the sharp blade cuts through the void, as if something has been cut off by a knife. The Vajra blood bata instantly out of the control of strange forces, it was scared to escape back to the shoulder of dragon dust, did not dare to move. Longchen looks forward. In the dark, Longchen sees a python. Strangely, the eyes of the python head grow in the nostrils. Pupil skill. When Longchen looked at the strange python, he was surprised. In those eyes, there were strange patterns, and the pattern circulation contained infinite power. With only one look at it, Longchen felt his head was dizzy, and the powerful spiritual force was going to invade his spirit. Magic pupil and ghost python. In the mind of Longchen, these four words jumped out of his mind for the first time. This is a terrifying archaic creature, a nightmare-level evil spirit, and the existence that scares countless creatures. GGG. The ghost on the shoulder of the dragon dust chirped. It said that this creature had just appeared. It didn't come to play yesterday. However, ghost creatures do not have the concept of time. The yesterday in its mouth may really be yesterday, or it may be millions of years ago. At this time, Emon Yen and other people also rushed to come. That month Xiaoqian saw the devil pupil ghost python. Eyes are full of shock color. Obviously, she also recognized this terrible creature. All of a sudden, the whole world turned upside down, and the earth collapsed. Then when the sky was bright, Longchen and others were shocked to find that they had been transported out of the tomb and came to the gate, which was originally made up of countless bones. How could that happen? People were shocked. No, we planted magic. Longchen looked at the Vajra blood bat on his shoulder, and suddenly his face changed. His hands were printed, and he stopped drinking. The power of the violent soul broke out. Boom! The space in front of them is like a mirror, and people appear in the passage again, and the anxious cry of ghosts and creatures comes from their ears. It turned out that the magic pupil and ghost python had performed a magic trick, which made people mistakenly think that it had been transported out of the tomb, and that the illusion that could make 5 people hit at the same time was extremely terrible. The reason why Longchen found out that it was wrong at the first time was that he found that the Vajra blood bat on his shoulder had no soul fluctuation, and immediately knew that it was not good. The crowd just broke away from the illusion, and a big mouth of blood opened. The terrible suction pulled them straight to the big mouth and flew away. At the same time, the terrible suction seemed to suck out the human soul. Piercing cloud arrow, Emon Yen broke off his drink like thunder. His bow was like a full moon, and an arrow flew out of it. It shot into the upper jaw of the devil pupil and ghost python, and flew out of the nostril. The huge force broke the eyes of the demon pupil ghost python in an instant. At this time, in the summer morning, a seal character flew out and printed on the forehead of the devil pupil and ghost python. With a loud noise, the long-distance devil pupil ghost python fell to the ground and did not move. This is too abnormal. They are all creatures that have never been seen before. They don't know their details. Guoran couldn't help but say that he didn't understand what was going on from the beginning to the end. Just like a fool, he couldn't make it powerful. These guys are not of the same age as us. We don't know about their magic power. We should be careful. If we can't make it right, we'll capsize. Mo Nian also looks dignified. He didn't recognize the devil pupil and ghost python. The burial place on this day was really dangerous. Every monster was so terrible. There is a lot of chaos in the body of this strange python. It is dozens of times more than that of other creatures. Xiaochen took the seal script and felt the turbulent chaos in it. I keep the fangs. Guoran pulled out the fangs of the demon pupil and ghost python. Dragon dust throws the corpse of the devil pupil and ghost python into the chaotic space. The corpse is quickly devoured, releasing a huge amount of life gas. At the same time, the remaining chaotic gas is also released, nourishing all spiritual plants in the chaotic space. The slow-growing taiyin wood from the size of a mung bean soon grew to an inch high, and the black flame wrapped around it grew a little bit bigger. Huolinger is like a greedy child, so guarding these taiyin trees, I wish they would grow into towering trees in an instant. Obviously, the more powerful the evil corpse is, the more vigorous the vitality is, and the more chaotic qi remains. With the decomposition of these corpses, the chaotic space is also changing, especially the Tiandao tree and Qibao glaze tree, which are radiant and energetic. After killing the devil pupil and ghost python, the ghost spirits dare not go forward in the distance, and the Vajra blood bat on the shoulder of dragon dust is also shivering. It is obvious that it was scared a little bit just now. This ghost creature also has something to restrain it. However, the troublemaker is not strong in itself. It is easy to be killed if it encounters a mutually antagonistic creature. Now it has been scared to death, and dare not make a fool of it. Dragon dust did not embarrass this little guy. If the dragon dust ordered it, even if it was afraid, it would have to be tough. After experiencing the magic pupil and ghost python, people become more careful. Long Chen and Mo Nian are exploring the way ahead. Xia Chen and Yu Shaoqian are in the middle. After Guoran is finished, they move forward slowly. Soon there was another evil corpse in front of him. In this passage, Mo Nian tried many times. No matter how he improved his camouflage, he would be attacked. After too many failures, people simply removed the camouflage to avoid affecting his actions. Boom! Suddenly, there was a roar in front of them. Dozens of horrible evil corpses found them and rushed to them from the darkness. As soon as they appeared, the terrible devil pressure made the souls of dragon dust and others tremble, and Mo Nian was shocked. This is the evil corpse of the demon family. Dozens of them came at once. This is really killing. The seal of demons, apocalypse. Yu Shaoqian suddenly has a jade hand and her eyebrows are shining, and the divine light lights up the passage. The evil corpses of the demon family who are flying towards her suddenly tremble and can't move in an instant. Xia Chen was overjoyed to see this, waving his big hands, and a series of seal characters flew out, sealing these powerful demons. There was the magic seal of Yu Shaoqian, and dozens of evil corpses were taken in. It was no effort. That's a great move. Mo Nian sincerely praised that the first demon clan is absolutely the enemy of the demon family. No wonder the demons see the first demon family as if they saw their father killing enemies. After the bodies were disposed of, the people continued to move forward. As a result, more than a dozen strong members of the blood clan came at once. Mo Nian and Long Chen broke out with all their strength. With the cooperation of all the people, they managed to take down these evil corpses. Mo Nian was almost bitten by a blood clan evil corpse. The more forward it was, the more terrifying the evil corpse was. Nowadays, all the evil corpses are at the level of the powerful god's dignity, and they are more and more difficult to deal with. Moreover, they are all in groups, trying to lead them out one by one, and they can't do it. GGG. At this time, the ghost creatures on the shoulder of Longchen screamed, and it told Longchen that these evil corpses had not been found when they came last time, but had just been born. When it came last time, the powerful evil corpses were still in the front. Dragon dust will its words, said to the public, People can't help but take a breath of cold air. There are more terrible evil corpses ahead? Is this road still possible? It's impossible to make such a hard break. We have to find a way to do it. Just at the moment of everyone's hard thinking, suddenly Emonien's face changed. Someone has entered the cemetery, right behind us. www. Ninefold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3829. How could it be? The crowd was surprised. The mechanism I left behind has been touched. Someone must have come in, and there are still a lot of people. Emoniendao. What about that? Quebec? Guaran asked. Long Chen shook his head. Those who can enter here are by no means ordinary people. Either they are strong enough or they have several treasures. Let's wait until they come and see if they can take the lead and clean up the evil bodies for us. That's a good idea. Come with me. Emonianin smiles. But this passage is clear at a glance. We have no place to hide. Guaran said. As a senior archaeologist, it's hard for me. Emonyang Heihei smile, took out a strange shuttle. That shuttle appeared, people were scared. The flying shuttle, which is several feet long, looks like a small flying boat, but when the runes on it are changed, the Emonyen behind the shuttle disappears. Through the shuttle, you can see all the scenery behind, but you can't see Emonyen. When Emonyen jumps into the shuttle, the whole person disappears with the breath. Hey, I don't have any skills these days. How dare you come out and mix with me? Come on, let's wait for them to come quietly. Emonyen has a smile. When they got on the shuttle, Emonyen drove the shuttle close to the wall. From the outside, he could see nothing at all. The shuttle was one of Emonyen's most precious treasures, and he had to rely on to survive countless times. However, the shuttle is not a combat artifact. It can only be used to hide and escape. Emonyen is not willing to use it for fear that it will be damaged. Once damaged, there is no room for repair. What did you come in for? Seeing that Vajra Bloodbat also entered the shuttle, along with the ghosts and creatures, Xiachen could not help asking. Come in and come in. If they can come here, they may also be able to identify ghosts and ghosts, so as not to show their horses' feet. Shoo, they are coming. Don't make any noise or communicate with gods, so as not to be found out. Emonyen is facing all humanity. Everyone held their breath, did not make a sound, and those ghosts were lying there, looking out. Soon, the sound of footsteps sounded, and Emonyen was right. There were more than one person to listen to the footsteps. There were thousands of them. Demon people. When those people approached slowly, they were awestruck and recognized the identity of the people they came to. All of these people were the most powerful ones. One by one possessed evil spirit, and their strength was amazing. The first man, thin and dry, with his hands over his knees, looked like a shriveled monkey, his eyes shining with evil light, scanning back and forth in the dark. When he saw the monkey-like man, Long Chen and Yu Shaoqian were crazy. As like as two peas, Long and Shao, and a little name, the name of the man's breath fluctuates with the body. Not only Long Chen and Yu Shaoqian, but also Emonyen, Guaran and Xiachen, who had not fought with corpse plague, found something wrong. They all looked shocked. Isn't corpse plague cut by dragon dust? Bones as like as two peas. Who is this man? How can the breath be the same as the corpse? For a while, they all couldn't believe their eyes. What's the situation? Is the corpse still alive? A corpse for life? No one? If you search, you must be hiding in the neighborhood. There is a demon-strong shout. The monkey-like man shook his head and said, No, they ran away. Hearing the monkey-like man speak, Long Chen and others are more sure that this man is corpse plague. Although the voice is different, the tone is exactly the same. The corpse was squatting on the ground, his shriveled palm pinched a handful of soil on the ground and smelled it in front of his nose. This is the trace left after the teleportation symbol was started. They were cunning enough to know that they were not our opponents, so they fled immediately. The traces on the ground were deliberately left by Xiachen, creating an illusion that they had escaped. But this is the place of celestial burial. How can they be transmitted out? Asked a demon strongman. Among them, there is a powerful array mage. They must have their own methods. There is no shelter at all. It is clear at a glance that there is no hiding place. The most important thing is that the woman from the beginning of the demon clan is with them. We followed the breath of the first demon family all the way. When we got here, the smell of the first demon disappeared, and we couldn't have any feeling. This proves that they did leave. Damn it, they were not willing to let them run away. The corpse is gnashing its teeth. It's a pity that he has destroyed your body. If they don't leave, you will be ashamed. The powerful demon was extremely respectful. Last time, it was very dangerous. If he hadn't broken through the sky wall and aroused the atmosphere of chaos, I would have died. However, I was also blessed by misfortune. I got the chi of chaos to nourish the soul, which made me break through the 7th level of the corpse devil dharma. Even if I use the corpse, I am stronger than I was at that time. It's a pity that these bastards are too cunning to escape. But it doesn't matter. Next time I meet him, I'll tear him up with my own hands. Obviously, although he comforted himself in this way, he still felt very sorry. Hearing this, Long Chen and other talents suddenly realized that his feelings were chaotic and saved him. The magic power of the corpse demon clan was really terrible. At that time, Long Chen didn't produce any induction, otherwise he would have been eradicated. Originally, people were still searching around, and some people had come to the edge of the shuttle. Guoran's heart was raised in his voice. The corpse gave up the search. The main reason is that the place is too open and there is no place to hide. In addition, the corpse plague is extremely confident. He thinks that Long Chen is in a bad situation and runs away directly. If he was dragon dust, he would escape, so he gave up the search directly. In fact, even if they don't give up, they can't find Long Chen and others. You know, the flying shuttle is one of the most powerful means to protect Emon Yen's life. It can move silently and no one can detect it. However, Guoran and others didn't know that, so they were worried, but Emon Yen didn't care at all. He didn't dare to say anything else. His ability to protect his life was #1 in the world. Otherwise, he would have been killed for his deeds. After a dozen corpses have just given up searching, a dozen people are forced out of the path to search for evil spirits. What's the situation? Long Chen and others were shocked and couldn't believe their eyes. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 38:30 Those evil corpses are all extremely horrible. How can they kill them so easily? But soon, Long Chen understood that these strong men were all the people of the beginning demon clan. Frankly speaking, they were all corpses. After careful observation, Long Chen and others are awed by the fact that the bodies of the strong men of the first demon clan are archaic. That is to say, their present bodies are not their original ones, but were taken away after entering the land of celestial burial. Dragon Dust and Emon Yen take a look at each other, and they both see the color of shock in each other's eyes. The ability of the beginning demons is too adverse. The place of burial on this day is a paradise for them to find new bodies at any time. These powerful corpse demons dragged back several evil corpses and examined them. The corpse plague shook his head and said, "It's a pity that none of them can be used. Let's pump out the chaos in their bodies and throw away the corpses." As soon as his voice dropped, a strong man from the beginning of the demon clan came forward and aimed at the eyebrows of the evil corpse with a delicate bottle. The chaotic chi in the evil corpse was quickly put into the bottle, which was even faster than Xia Chen's Fuzhuan. Obviously, they were also prepared and everything was so familiar. As Long Chen expected, the evil corpses here regard them as the same kind, and do not attack the strong ones of the first demons. Even if they are attacked, they do not fight back. They are easy to let go. However, the other powerful members of the demon clan dare not follow behind like the strong ones of the original demon clan. Long Chen saw that there were many powerful people in the supreme level. It seems that even if their strength was not as good as Corpse Plague, it would not be too bad. So many powerful demons gather here. Even if they are as strong as Dragon Dust, they can't help feeling endless pressure. In such a narrow space, if we fight with them, they will surely suffer a lot. However, there are hundreds of strong original demons, and now only a dozen of them have Archean corpses. If all of them have Archean corpses, their combat effectiveness will be frightening to death. It seems that not all the evil corpses are suitable for them according to the way they examine the evil corpses. They also need to meet certain conditions before they can merge with the evil corpses. Corpse Plague and others all the way forward, the speed is very fast. Those evil corpses, the corpses were absorbed by them, after the gas of chaos, were thrown to the ground. Emo Nien drives the shuttle and slowly follows behind. He doesn't dare to go too far ahead. The shuttle has its defects. It can avoid the perception of living creatures, but it can't hide the evil corpses. Soon, there were corpses of evil corpses all over the passage. Long Chen could not bear it for several times, but finally he could not help it. He took the risk to quietly put these corpses into the chaotic space. Because at this time, the trees in the chaotic space began to wither again. Without corpses, their vitality would be absorbed by the wood of Tyene. If there was no continuous injection of corpses, these trees would probably be sucked to death. Now the Tyene wood has grown to 3 inches high and is wrapped in a fist-sized Tyene fire. It looks strange, but the fist-sized Tyene fire starts to fluctuate violently, and its violent power begins to rise gradually. At the risk of being found, Long Chen quietly collects the corpses in the back. If someone comes back for inspection, he will expose the stuffing. Fortunately, Corpse Plague wants to go deep and ignores his death. As time goes on, Long Chen finds that Corpse Zao has changed into a body, which is the body of a powerful winged demon clan, and is occupied by him. Obviously, the corpse of the strong man of the winged demon clan is stronger than his original body. Seeing this situation, everyone's heart is pounding. I'm afraid that the Corpse Plague will become more and more difficult to deal with. Corpse Demon Clan, it's too bad. If we get the body of super strong person by Corpse Plague, we may be destroyed by him alone. What can we do? Do you want to kill him now? Emo Nien is against the Dragon Dust Road. At this time, they have a distance from the corpse and others, so they can communicate safely without fear of being found. At this time, Emo Nien is not afraid of the corpse disaster, but his ability is too adverse. If he meets the corpse of a cowherd character in the archaic era and is controlled by him, it will be troublesome. The inheritance of Corpse Demon Road also has its limitations. The more powerful the corpse, the more difficult it is to control. Even if he controls it, his consumption is terrible, but Emo Nien's worry is right. If he gets the corpse of the Archean Terror power, although he may not be able to drive it immediately, his growth rate in the future will be very amazing. Yu Shaoqian said. As for the Demon Clan, no one knows better than Yu Shaoqian. The inheritance of Corpse Demon Road is also restricted by the law of heaven. Super powerful corpses must have strong ability to drive. The stronger the corpse is, the harder it will be to drive it. As for those who are super horrible, the corpse will enter their bodies and even have no strength to move a finger. But even so, there is a very terrible place in the inheritance of Corpse Demon Road, that is, in the corpse. With the help of the power of corpse, the cultivation speed is very amazing, and Yu Shaoqian has to remind Long Chen. Now he may not be able to threaten Long Chen, but once he gets the horrible evil corpse, he will become a formidable enemy of Long Chen. Yu Shaoqian is not worried about the present corpse plague, she is worried about the future corpse plague. There's no need. He's strong. He's a lamb. He's up to him. He wants his life at any time. Long Chen shook his head. Although Corpse's ability is against the sky, Long Chen doesn't care. He is not afraid of any genius. Moreover, his pride does not allow him to do so. He can kill any enemy, but he will never kill the other party because he is afraid of other people's growth, which is tantamount to admitting that he is afraid of others. The way of Long Chen is really invincible. He doesn't believe that someone can defeat him in the same rank. Hey, well, no matter how strong he is, Tianjiao has no way to pursue his dream. Once he meets Emo Nien, he becomes empty. I am worried about Guoran and Xiachen. Emo Nien he laughs. Long Chen doesn't want to do it, he can't do it, otherwise he seems afraid. Guoran and Xiachen looked at Mo Nian with disdain. This guy even threw the pot on their two heads. However, it has to be said that they are really afraid of the corpse plague. If they have this opportunity, they will kill him before the corpse plague grows up. In particular, they kept collecting the chaotic qi inside the evil corpse. Xia Chen and Guoran were greedy and wanted to grab them directly. Summer morning, they have two strange bottles. We have to find a way to get them. Guoran Yinin tunnel. Okay, I'll try my best. There should be no big problem. Summer morning has been staring at those two bottles. The brain has been thinking about how to do. Click, click. At this time, there was a huge roar in front of him. At this time, Shixiai and others had reached the end of the passage and opened a huge door. As soon as the door opened, the glory was dazzling. Then Long Chen and others saw a splendid world. But in this resplendent world, it is full of the breath of death, because the dragon dust saw the endless corpses. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.